Welcome to the London Chess Classic 2025. We're your commentators for this first round. I have Grandmaster Stephen Gordon with me, and I'm Daniel King. Stephen, this is quite a lineup we've got.
Yeah, it's always a special time of year when we get the tournament in which top British players are matched up against some of the world's best. We've got two very elite players from around the world.
Well, there's quite a few kind of bubbling up, not just the top guys. I mean, This is an incredible lineup here. We've got, top seed, Alireza Firouzja, and then Abdusattorov, Nodirbek Abdusattorov. But then coming up, we've got Abhimanyu Mishra.
Yeah, 16 years old.
16 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a real talent and fresh from the World Cup. Well, there's a few. We've got Sam Shankland who's playing. So, I mean, I think just a very exciting lineup, actually.
Yeah, it's big age range.
Yep.
Yeah, some very informed players turning up. You just mentioned Mishra, who did amazingly at the FIDE Grand Swiss, and Sam Shankland, who had an unbelievable run at the World Cup.
Yeah.
Probably the toughest pairings of anyone out there, and he made it all the way to the sixth round. So.
I'm delighted to see Sam kind of having a real resurgence. Of course, US champion in, I think it was 2018.
Yeah.
But somehow a little bit of a dip after that. But, he seems to be finding his feet again, which is brilliant. He's a very, very hard worker, and it seems to be paying off. So I'm delighted about that.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite for the tournament? Come on. Okay, name on the line.
Well, I did mention at the start we've got two elite players. So Firouzja and Abdusattorov kind of stand out. I mean, obviously, Firouzja's been at the top for 3 or 4 years now, and Abdusattorov also there, kind of a name mentioned as a potential World Championship candidate. If I had to guess, it'd be one of those two.
Okay.
I like Firouzja. He came very close to winning the Grand Swiss. I think maybe form in the last year or two hasn't been where it could be, but it's just a special talent. And
okay, it sounds like you're plumping for Alireza.
Yeah, you're going to put me on the spot.
I am going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, okay, you go for Alireza. I'm going for Abdusattorov.
Okay.
Do you know what? I think he'll be a bit disappointed with his form over the past couple of tournaments. There's the FIDE Grand Swiss and then the World Cup. So I think third time, with tournaments fairly close together, I just have a feeling he's going to bounce back and he's going to come good here. But anyway, should we plunge in and have a look at a game?
Jump into the games.
Yeah.
So we're 7 minutes into it. Do you have a preference where we go to first?
Well, let's look at the top seed. Let's look at Alireza Firouzja. I feel we ought to, do him the honour of looking at his game first, actually.
So we've got a Grunfeld, and it looks as though it's a old main line with Bishop C4. Maybe we can go back to this.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
I think this was a topical line back in the day when Anand and Topalov were playing a World Championship match.
Yes, absolutely. And it hasn't been seen a huge amount since then. Very interesting that, Sam, as I mentioned at the start, a very, very hard worker. His opening preparation is absolutely superb. But to have like a mainline Grunfeld is, I think, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
We don't see that too often these days, actually. We see other lines of the Grunfeld. So, I'm very intrigued by. I used to play the Grunfeld back in the day when I was in short trousers, and so it's always interested me. But what's funny is that when I was playing it, practically the only move you saw here was Queen C7. This was the so-called Smyslov variation, which was just de rigueur back in the day.
Yeah.
But no one plays Queen C7 anymore.
No, I'm going to be at a loss to tell you the reason why. I think this variation for white with Bishop C4 was super popular back in the day. I think there's
1960s, 1970s.
Yeah, I mean,
this
even
was the
Kasparov era.
Absolutely, with the Karpov-Kasparov games.
Yeah,
absolutely. Mainline.
But then it fell out of favour, and probably that was the influence of Kramnik, finding some different lines where the knight goes to f3.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, Kramnik, duffed up Kasparov in the 2000 World Championship match. With knight on f3, bishop on and an early rook b1. It's all very subtle.
Yeah. And then I think it's come back into favour, and that is probably down to the influence of some Alpha Zero stuff, where White's found in a few lines that even playing h4 when castling kingside can put some pressure on black.
We've got a couple more moves, actually.
Yeah, we do. I stopped at this point so we could kind of... I mean, this is really the start of the tabia where black has various options, and bishop g4 was an old main line. And then after this, we get some forcing play, and
I mean,
you've got these variations,
and also possible to take on f7 as well.
Yeah,
that was the old Karpov-Kasparov games.
Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, there's a mountain of old theory, old games from those. But Sam's gone in a very different way, which was, as you mentioned previously, the Anand Topalov games.
It's gone with knight a5.
Yeah, or I should say Topalov. I think it was Topalov Anand, actually. Topalov playing white.
Yeah,
so knight a5 and bishop d3 and b6. So this is sort of took over at that time in the early 2000s, or a little bit after that as kind of the main line.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And back in the day when I was studying quite closely with engines to try and make this work with white, I was playing this for a while and gave it up.
Really?
To try some different things, but this system was very difficult to break down when looking at it with an engine. Good friend of mine, good friend of yours, David Howell, playing Grunfeld with black. He had some experience in this line, and we had a bit of a difference of opinion. With a few, going a few moves further.
Okay.
So e5 here,
right,
and then bishop h6, and I think this was, whether it's Cheparinov or Topalov, I think it was that they kind of composed the idea.
There were really sharp attacking lines.
Yeah.
Involving f4, weren't there?
Yeah, it's this kind of situation where, whether I've got the move order right, but we get to this kind of scenario where black has won a pawn, but white's very mobile in the centre, and especially pushing these pawns forward, it can easily turn into a bit of a dangerous kingside attack.
I mean, I remember looking at these games at the time, and I think unless you prepare this with black, then this looks absolutely terrifying because that f pawn rolling up the board, that pawn duo, the f and e pawns, I would just back away. I mean, I'm a chicken. I would back away from that with black.
Yeah, it's one of these things, isn't it, where you really need to know what you're doing with black. I think the Grunfeld's a fantastic opening, but then the practical side of things is if you're not doing your homework and you're not coming to the board like super well prepared, then things can go south quite quickly.
Yeah.
This was the difference of opinion that me and David had. I was kind of looking at this with white and feeling as though it's very difficult, even though there is potential and some dynamism with the kingside pawns. At the time, I felt like this is very difficult to break down black's defences. David had a game in this line in, I think it was an Olympia, European Team Championships, and he lost it, and he was a bit gutted about it. And I do remember that we had a bit of a chat about this, and he said, when it's over, when you're looking at it with an engine, all looks okay. When it's over the board, black's task is a lot more difficult.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
difficult, very difficult. However, as I said, Sam Shankland, very well prepared. He will be going into this with his eyes wide open. So can I switch to another game?
Sure.
I'd be very interested in the game between Abhimanyu Mishra playing white against Nikita Vitiugov. So we have Abhimanyu Mishra from the States, was he the youngest ever IM
Right.
at the age of 12 or something? Or was it the youngest ever GM? I can't even remember.
Don't know the facts.
No,
but yeah,
no.
super young to be.
Yeah,
get into that
yeah.
level,
I mean, an incredible talent, and of course, he's just had a fantastic tournament in the FIDE Grand Swiss.
Yeah.
Absolutely superb.
Yeah.
And he's playing Nikita Vitiugov, who's a little bit older. He's 38, I think.
Okay.
And Russian, but now living in London and representing England. This is a really fascinating opening.
Okay. So we get the Nimzo. And then, this...
The Zamish.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, again, if I talk back when I was playing this with black, if my opponents played the Zamish, I'd just be going...
Very happy.
Yeah.
It's the same for me. Same for me.
You're a Nimzo man as well.
Yeah, I've always kind of stuck to my guns with chess openings, I guess. A bit rigid, really, but played the Nimzo for a very long time. And whenever you get to kind of inflict damage on your opponent's pawn structure at a gain of time, I was very happy to be going into that.
I mean, we want to take on C3, and he's pushing us into it. I mean, I was always just delighted to see that. But also, the A3 square is taken up by a pawn, which stops the bishop going there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what you played, but basically I played in the most aggressive way here, playing B6 and bishop A6, just going for it very quickly.
Yeah. So the differences tend to be whether black decides to put a bit of pressure on the centre with the c-pawn advance, or whether you just leave it out and get the minor pieces to squares in which it looks to take advantage of the damage of the white structure. So the c4 point going to be a real weakness. I think the reason that this has kind of become topical again, with the help of engines, of course, is that the top players are finding there's so many lines in which you can give the pawn, but you can justify the long-term compensation that white's going to get by building a big pawn centre.
Definitely, and it has come back into fashion over the past few years, and actually reminds me there was a game. First round, bear with me here. First round of the US Championship, Caruana were playing against Aparin. Now, it wasn't quite a Zamish, but actually it went 4 Queen C2, and Aparin played D5. Then Caruana played A3, and took on C3, and he played B takes C3.
Yeah.
So it was a kind of related...
Yeah, a bit related. I guess with the delay, at least in this system, white solves the problem of the double pawns. But then black's got the extra tempo to get some control of the centre.
But basically, Caruana pinned... with
he
G5.
managed to get the bishop outside of the pawn chain.
I mean, he crushed the par.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant game.
Yeah, it looked as though black was fine at some point and then lost a thread. But another try that's really quite rare these days. It just goes to show how much scope there is to kind of surprise the opponent with, with these kind of things.
It looks bizarre to play Queen C2 and then play A3 afterwards. But, Caruana showed it's actually incredibly dangerous.
Yeah. So how did we go in this game?
So what did Nikita Vitiugov play instead of... So bishop b4.
Yeah. So we get takes on c3, b takes. So he'd gone for c5 there.
Okay. The other kind of classic main line. And f3 and e4, I'd say the sharpest way to play.
Yeah. So doesn't even look to try and defend the c4 point. Just gonna give that away to continue with development.
Well, okay, of course it can't be taken immediately. There is a
there's a cheeky check on a4.
There's a cheeky check on a4. But I agree. I mean, I think probably. I mean, you see this a lot. He might just give it up and play bishop g5. So, well, we should look at castles.
Yeah. So Black's castling here. I think the live position was, so
has he
maybe
actually castled?
Vitiugov is thinking.
Okay.
Vitiugov's still thinking. Castle's potentially a move.
No.
So then the question is, do you defend the pawn or do you try and get the compensation? So things to be thinking about are, can you get that pawn advance to e5 under good circumstances? Can you get a pawn to f5 under good circumstances? Can you potentially inflict some damage to the kingside structure with a bishop g5 and then putting a bit more pressure on the pinned piece from there?
Yeah, I mean, one could consider playing e5 immediately.
Yeah.
e5 takes, knight goes back to, well, let's say d7, and that bishop is maybe
it's super concrete, isn't it?
It's, maybe queen e2, because just for a moment it holds the pawn. And the reason I want to do that is because knight takes c5, bishop h7. Okay,
something to look out for here, isn't it?
Bishop h7, queen takes.
You wouldn't just capture back, but then would need to assess how this liquidation is working out.
Probably okay for black, isn't it?
Yeah,
you'd think so.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe, I mean, then the other way to play is just to give up the c pawn. So e5. So e5 takes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, takes back.
And in this position, f4.
Maybe f4. Okay.
And now is bishop c. Do we have any compensation? I don't know.
I guess with this, it's like the long-term weaknesses of White's queenside pawns isn't going anywhere. So I guess that Black's always thinking, do I snatch the pawn now and consolidate, or do I take a little extra time to make sure that I'm not going to gift White the initiative on the king side that turns into an attack?
I mean, I used to play these positions with Black. But actually, these days, I look at White's position and I kind of go, this is fun, isn't it? But it's kind of a blitz assessment,
Yeah.
I kind of like the attacking chances.
Yeah.
But bishop, I mean, in this particular position, as I mentioned before, I was trying to preserve that light square bishop. Right. So after bishop c4,
I mean,
I'm not as happy.
There's a defensive intent to taking on c4 with the bishop because this is a very dangerous piece.
Exactly.
Over at the black king like this. I think with the advance that we're looking at with e5, you would only do it if for very concrete reasons and it was clear that it was going to work out very well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think it kind of loses tension in the position. It might make Black's defensive task a bit easier.
I confess, I didn't think it through.
Okay, no, but you got it. I mean, it's
the first thing you think of,
it's
isn't
the first thing you think of, for sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And then from here as well, I mean, just a side note on this position. You mentioned about having this pawn on a3 blocking out the bishop. There's been some games in which accelerating this rook over to the king side
definitely
comes into play. It's quite often that the bishop will sit on c1 for the foreseeable future.
And actually, one little side point is that, if White were to play Queen e2 here, actually, it might be that Black just thinks, okay, I'll take the bishop on c1, just play knight b3, exchange off that potentially dangerous dark squared bishop. So, I mean, rook a2, as you mentioned, very common maneuver. Yeah. And that makes a virtue of this pawn on a3 as well, actually. And just give the pawn and just switch the rook over.
Yeah,
I mean, I like the way that Mishra is playing this, I have to say. Very exciting.
Yeah, interesting, yeah. I mean, another way to go might be f4 in this position. Try and get the pawn to f5, or potentially to play e5 and be able to take with the f-pawn, which keeps some integrity in the pawn structure.
Yeah, so bishop takes c4, as you say, f5.
But just to go back a little bit.
Go on.
I mean, d6 was played very early, so it's kind of it's already taken its own path. But there used to be these old mainline positions that would be reached in which you get very similar moves from white. And then around this point, when white advances with f4, or even just before this knight a5 move, black would take time out of the queenside operation just to try and shore up the kingside and block things. This used to be an old main line. I don't think it's favoured anymore. I think the black avoids going for this.
But I think this was... I'm not sure there's time to do this. I think this was against the variation where white was playing simply e3 and knight e2,
so
whereas f3 and e4. I think this is too slow.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if f4, then f5, absolutely.
Yeah.
That blockades, that shuts out the bishop on c1. But I think after knight, instead of playing f4, after knight e8,
in this position.
So, I mean, you don't have to play f4. So you could play, maybe, for example, knight g3, just to stop f5. Or indeed e5. And then you're going to take en passant if f5 comes.
Yeah.
Probably knight g3 in that position.
And also in this position, there might be some extra options, given the pawn is already on e4.
Yeah.
So Mishra's kind of forced black into spending some time on d6 to try and just slow down the central expansion.
Yeah. But, I mean, really, really exciting game. The other game I can see which looks very interesting is Gawain Maroa Jones against Nodirbek Abdusattorov.
Okay.
So Gawain is attacking with knight g5. Now, what is that about?
Okay.
What's going on here? This looks like special prep to me.
So this has come from a Caro-Kann Panov variation. And I mean, this is the thing with Nodirbek, in that he plays for a win with both colours, and he's willing to take quite a lot of risk with black. And I think Gawain's kind of playing on that dynamic, in that he knows that Nodirbek won't go for the most principled line if it's going to lead to some liquidation early in the game.
I'm very intrigued by this, because when I used to play the Panov Botvinnik, and what's this? There's a knight already on g5, so let's just get to the position that they've got on the board.
Yeah, so I think a6 is it's kind of a modern recommendation.
Yeah,
there's some lines with bishop g4 where
bishop g4
pieces are getting hoovered off the board.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which I think is why you don't really see this system with white when it's okay for black to, just be playing for an equality. But I guess Gawain maybe predicts that Abdusattorov will go for a bit more. So you get this bishop c4, which is kind of a reverse of this Dubov-Tarrasch, a tempo extra.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. So, and obviously very popular system for black, which seems to be holding up extremely well at the moment. The idea with a6 is that after bishop e6, without the pawn on a6, there'd be a queen b3 move, which is very difficult to meet. But if the queen does go to b3 in this position, then I think black can answer it with knight a5, and then there's no nasty checks which get in the way of black's coordination. So I thought that bishop b3 was the main move here for white, but instead Gawain goes for knight g5, and I'm going to fess up that I have absolutely no idea what's going on from here.
Okay, well, I can see that actually, I mean, I'm just looking this up on my database, and I found a game which went... So this is a game played in Germany in 2023, which went knight takes c3, Bishop takes e6.
Wow, so very forcing.
Knight takes queen on d1. Bishop takes f7.
Yeah.
King d7. And now bishop e6. And where do you think the king went?
Well,
where would you like the king to go?
Well, I mean, just for illustration, this is very bad, right? For a few reasons. But bishop f4 looks tempting. There's a fork on f7 potentially, although bishop f4 looks a lot stronger. The most ambitious would be to go to c7.
Okay, so we check on f4.
Yeah.
This didn't happen.
And well, it's all forced, isn't it?
King and now,
to b6.
Yeah, rook takes d1.
Wow. So what's the count? You've got a light squared bishop and a pawn for a queen, but the minor pieces are menacing.
I would take white any day of the week.
Yeah.
Look at black's pieces. They're not. Yeah. There's nothing in the game.
It's going to take a very long time to get coordinates.
And you're not even behind on material.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a gift for white.
Yeah.
So, in view of that, you can probably guess that the king in this particular game, Arbel against Dragnev from Germany 2023, instead of king c7, the king went back to e8.
Okay. Which is... It's a bit sad, isn't it, really?
It's a bit sad. And it went bishop f7.
Maybe there's... Yeah, bishop f7, okay.
King d7, and yes.
Yeah.
Their eyes met, and they headed straight to the bar.
Yeah, so that's a real shame if white can kind of force a draw in that way. I imagine that if this happens, then Nodirbek's going to have a big think in this position if it gets to the board. Can he get away with king c7 and try and...
I mean, one question I have is, can white play on with the king on e8?
Okay.
You know, this is the kind of thing that Gawain... You know, Gawain is not a man that usually likes to halve out quickly. You know, he's up for a fight. So I'm wondering, after king e8... Now, I don't want to play king d1. That looks a bit fishy. But can I castle? How about castle?
That's beautiful.
Just leave it, because the knight is trapped.
The move of a magician.
How's that? Terrible. I don't know. It's not so easy for black to get free.
First instinct would be to vacate give a bit of space to the king and take this pawn in the middle, defend the knight.
Defending the knight.
It feels multi-purpose, but at the same time, it still feels dangerous. It's just whether, you know, from concrete perspective, can you take advantage of...
I need to take that knight, so I might have to play bishop b3 in that position.
Okay, right. Yeah.
But we know that black's king is stuck in the middle. That's, from white's point of view, that's the good news.
Yeah.
And you never know, that knight might hop into e6.
It's not easy. I'm kind of scared to play anything quickly with black.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. Do you know, it's the kind of thing that I could see Gawain doing.
Yeah.
We know that he loves attacking. He likes very wild positions.
Has this been played before? I've just got a weird feeling that this is...
Okay, I'm still not taking that knight. This is very unfortunate. Do I play knight e6? Let's try knight e6.
Possibly, yeah. Testing my defensive skills still. So queen back to here might run into this.
Yeah, bishop f4. Yeah. I'll keep going. So I think I'm probably going to take the rook in the corner. So I mean, if I can't take the knight, then I may as well play. Oh, actually, the king is very close to being checkmated. If I can get a rook to the deal, okay, I'll take the rook. Go on. Sorry.
Okay. Well, probably best, isn't it? I mean, d1. Fortunately, this knight's doing a bit of a defensive duty, covering that d1 square. That would threaten mate in one, but
okay, I'll take the rook. Come on, let's take the rook. Like this is fun.
Gonna go to d8 probably. It seems a little bit more hidden there, and then
Okay, so what's the score?
The count now?
What's the count?
It's the queen for a rook, and black's actually got an extra pawn. But then, obviously, the king is still very drafty. But I do have a feeling that black is probably over the worst in this situation.
It might be.
It's close to getting the pieces out right, and white's had to invest a bit of time going after the rook in the corner.
It's very unfortunate that the knight has sort of gone away from the centre.
But back in, I mean, we can investigate this further if you want, but back in the position where you were suggesting castling, is there anything else there? Is it just too risky to play this on?
Actually, when I said that with the king going to c7, that the material is even, it's not. Because I forgot that white hasn't taken a rook.
Ah, yeah.
I failed to count.
In this position, if the king goes.
Yeah. I was sort of imagining that one of the rooks had gone, but it hasn't. So
we had this?
So we had this, and then rook takes d1.
Rook takes d1.
Yeah.
This is probably the position to investigate.
It's only a piece.
Yeah, but it's beautiful compensation, isn't it? It's like absolutely. I mean, like we said earlier, to get coordination with black is going to take a fair few moves, and there's going to be ongoing issues with the black king. So
we should mention that Abdusattorov is still thinking after knight g5. He's invested, well, he's only got an hour and 5 minutes left. Well, I say only, but Gawain has basically moved instantly. He has an hour and 28. We should mention the time control, this is classical chess, so 90 minutes plus 30 seconds each time they make a move. And then after move 40, they get 30 minutes added and still 30 seconds per move. So this is classical chess. So Abdusattorov can invest some time here to think things through. But there isn't really another move after. Is there another move after knight g5? I don't think so. I mean, the attack on e6 and d5 is too strong, isn't it?
It's unfortunate to be just. Well, if you blacked. You don't want the damage to the structure like this unless you get something very tangible in return for it.
Yeah.
So he has just played knight takes on c3, which is probably just the forced decision. So interesting now to see if Gawain had something up his sleeve or whether it is just kind of pushing towards this potentially forced drawing line, which would go bishop e6.
Yeah, or whether Abdusattorov is going to risk putting the king on c7. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a fascinating start.
Yeah. So I guess when we revisit this, we're gonna see this position again, and probably Nodirbek in the tank, figuring out if he can bring himself to play the king c7 move.
I should mention to our audience that we're not looking at this with engines. So, which would probably make our life a lot easier in this position. We'd know instantly whether king c7 is correct or not. And actually, I'm going to stick to that. But all I'm doing is I'm looking up on the database and seeing, what's been done before. Knight e6 has been played before instead of bishop e6.
Ah, okay.
But it seems to me that, that in fact it's just losing a piece, isn't it?
It looks great for black in a few different ways from this point on.
So just rook takes d8.
Yeah, at the very least, just capture.
So obviously king takes loses to rook takes d4.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, I mean
there's probably no other move here.
So I think you have to play bishop.
Have to play bishop takes. Yeah, it must be the idea. And then it's really quite forced for black now. What else than this? I'm sure we're going to get to this.
And then we have a big decision.
Yeah, and then it's a
thankfully
decision,
we don't have to make a big decision. He has to make, Abdusattorov has to make
a
big decision.
What haven't we covered yet? I think we've seen Mishra, we've seen Gawain.
Oh yes, we need to look at all the games.
We saw the start of Firouzja Shankland, the Grunfeld, and so we're left with Luke against Mickey.
Oh, that's the All England battle. We should have a look at that one, definitely. So we have Michael Adams, 54 years old. I mean, he's been at the top of English chess forever, basically. I remember being a trainer for Mickey in the World Under-16 Championships in Austria it's probably about 87.
Wow, right.
And Mickey was probably about 12 years old, I think. Something like that. Yeah, but the funny thing is, he plays exactly the same now as he did when he was 12 years old.
It's quite incredible, isn't it?
I don't know. He came fully formed.
Yeah.
You know?
He's got a very distinctive style, hasn't he? It's this kind of positional grind and kind of just shutting down the opponent's activity quite slowly, but surely. It's been very effective.
Plays with a sound pawn structure, seems quite modest, but then he can just take over.
I mean, when it goes well, it's always kind of a beautiful game. Always aesthetically looks really good from start to finish. And at 54 to be playing at the level that he's playing at it's unreal, really. Yeah.
So he's playing against Luke McShane, 41 years old. I mean, Luke sometimes is capable of just some extraordinary results. I always find Luke a very unusual player, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's attacking like crazy. Sometimes he's very, very strategic. I mean, I don't know. Have you played against Luke?
Yeah. Only a handful of times, actually. I mean, I've played against all the top British players, and Luke is the one I've probably played against least. But like you say, he's very versatile. He's got a favourite system with black, which is playing the Berlin defence against 1e4, which tends to suggest that he's quite a solid positional player. But I think when he's given the opportunity to play for the initiative, go for the attack, he's very comfortable with that as well. Which I guess at this level you kind of need to be able to have a good feel for all scenarios.
And sometimes he plays incredibly long games because he's used to kind of sometimes just blocking the position out and then exploiting tiny weaknesses.
Yeah, I think there's a few top British players who've got this reputation of being grinders. So Mickey's one of them. Yeah, Luke.
Yeah,
David Howell.
Yeah.
And then I guess you've got the opposite. I mean, Gawain's a fantastic endgame player, so obviously if his games go the distance, then he excels in that area too. But he loves the initiative. Yeah, his plays kind of it's a bit more loose. It's a bit more risky. He's got a very kind of distinct styles to what the other guys do.
Okay,
I'm struggling with the moves here. You're going to have to.
Have we not got the
what
moves?
I've got on my machine, unfortunately, shows Mickey going A6 on move 1, but I'm sure that's not the case.
E4, E5.
Yeah.
Knight F3, Knight C6. Bishop B5.
Yeah.
A6.
Yeah.
So yes, Luke playing white. Bishop A4. Knight F6. Castles. Mainline Spanish. Bishop E7. Interesting. Luke took on C6 now.
Right.
So again, this is a variation which leads to very slow manoeuvring games. And I know that Luke loves this pawn formation.
Yeah. So I did mention to you before the round that I'd wrote some notes. I was being a bit of a nerd, and I did check this one out. So, don't think they've played for a few years. I think the last time they were paired against each other was 2022. But they've had loads of games, these two, in the database. I'm not sure what the total number is, but it looked as... I'd be surprised if it's less than 50 games against each other in total. So obviously Luke being mainline 1e4, Mickey very rarely shies away from playing playing the black side of a Spanish. Luke was trying kind of mainline Spanishes against him for a while, but in the last 4 encounters that they had, he went for a Spanish exchange, which, just going back to here, after A6, takes on C6, and his record against Mickey was very good, 3.5 out of 4 with the Spanish exchange. Yeah. Wow. So obviously Mickey would have been very well prepared, ready for that again, given that Luke kept repeating it and kept doing well. So
we have, instead of that, we have the delayed exchange, which is a system I've always rather liked as white, actually, because it's very clear strategic lines. So you protect the pawn. So D3 played.
Yeah.
Now black has to protect the pawn on E5. So knight D7. Then knight D2 played. Castles. Knight C4. This is the game. So again, the e-pawn is attacked. So F6. Now, various ways to play this. Back in the day, I remember playing knight H4 in this position and attempting either to play knight F5 quickly or a very quick F4. But Luke has played knight E3. I mean, strategically normal, but it's a lot slower. Knight C5 played. And then knight F5 immediately.
Yeah. It may be worth going back a few moves just to point out that when you have a bit of a feel for these positions, retreating this knight to D7, actually, you think of it as very natural for the pawn structure and the way that black's playing, which, I mean, if you're sort of starting out and learning general principles, moving the same piece twice in the opening, and then moving a developed piece backwards, which blocks other pieces in, you wouldn't think that that's generally in black's interest. But I think the point here is that the knight is a little bit misplaced on F6, and ideally it would like to reroute itself to the square next to it, where it kind of eyes up some of these central dark squares that it can jump into potentially a bit later in the game.
And of course, this structure can arise from many different openings, actually. I mean, various variations of the Spanish. The Berlin is one that's very closely related, but also with black's pawns on C6 and C5, this is like a Rossolimo.
Yeah.
And again, in that Rossolimo structure, the knight belongs on E6. If you can get it there, then black has achieved an enormous amount.
Yeah.
Okay, so the game rattled on.
So we've got knight F5, yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, my first thought is, well, if black wants to sort of, kind of keep things, maybe try to equalize, just take on F5.
Right.
I mean, he didn't do it. I can see he played bishop D6 here, but I wonder maybe Luke's going to follow up with D4 very quickly. I don't know, and try and get in on E6.
Okay.
It's just
so. Is the point behind bishop D6? If you're gonna take my 2 bishops advantage away from me, you're going to clean up my pawn structure in return for it.
I suppose so. Yeah. So it went bishop D6, rook E1, rook E8.
Rook E1, rook E8. I kind of like black, but then I also admit that I've had zero experience of, an exchange Spanish from either side.
Yeah.
Just kind of feels like you get the 2 bishops, and then white's not really breaking quickly or forcing a pawn majority on the king side, like you mentioned with D4. Kind of feels like black's comfortable, but I guess in the long term, White is going to look to break with F4 potentially. Whether rook E1 lends itself to that, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
But in situations where these pawns get exchanged, White does have a bit of presence in the center, and is, I guess, kind of hoping that keeping that part of the board closed so that the bishops can't activate is the strategy there.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Luke play in a very, very similar way before. and he likes this kind of slow maneuvering in exactly this structure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine that it's anything. I mean, I would want to drop the bishop back to f8 and play the knight to e6, for example.
Yeah.
And it feels to me like black is okay.
Yeah.
It's very, very slow.
Yeah.
But there you go. Interesting.
Oh, we've got a game.
It looks like a game is over. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can find out what happened. Shall I depart? I'll depart.
Okay. Cool.
Can we? So just bear with us a moment while we bring in Nodirbek Abdusattorov, who clearly has finished his game. He's not checking up on the computers here. So we'll just fit him into the studio, and we'll be with you any moment, and he can tell us exactly what happened.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Malcolm.
So this is the last chess lesson of turn.
I like chess because it helps you do maths better, like coordinates, and it makes you concentrate more.
It's like really fun to play it, and it calms you down when you're in like an angry mood.
It like gets you ready and it puts you into the right mood for like doing lessons.
One of the lovely things about doing chess in the classroom is that children are learning through play, which makes it so much more fun. It doesn't feel like an ordinary lesson, it's something children look forward to. It helps them to learn how to concentrate, how to think a little bit strategically, think logically, and we hope that it turns them into more rounded and ultimately, of course, employable individuals.
Just get a board in pieces and learn how to play.
Just practice and see if you can do it.
Hey, welcome back to round one of the XTX Markets London Chess Classic. We've got two of the players here whose game's just finished. So welcome to Gawain and Nodirbek. So, shorter day than expected for you guys. I'll let you take us through the game. Gawain, I want your thoughts to start with.
Yeah, well, I wasn't expecting the Caro, but then I thought, okay, something safe here, and then I know a6 is a trendy move, but I knew this knight g5 existed, and that's about. So I clicked through as a safe option.
Okay.
So, yeah, we get pan off via a slightly unusual move order, and this a6 has been played for a while. But
right.
good winning try to avoid like that. boring endgame after bishop g4 in this long line there.
Right, sure, yeah. So then after
but
bishop...
then it becomes reasonably forced. Yeah, so bishop b3, I think, is the main move. Yeah, but I didn't know it more than that it was the main move. So I thought it'd be naive to just play this with no knowledge.
Okay. Were you aware that there was a potential drawing line in this?
No, actually, I didn't know that knight g5 has existed because
okay.
I was expecting bishop b3, and suddenly after when he played knight g5, I realized, wow, if it works, okay, that's then okay. I mean, yeah, I didn't know this line exists, so if I would know that, I would play something else.
Yeah,
probably,
sure. So
the game can continue, but it's extremely dangerous to go into anyway, and unprepared. It's
we very briefly looked
king
at
c7,
this.
right?
Yeah, so king c7, bishop f4 check, king b6, rook takes d1, king a7, I think, is
king a7,
forced.
yeah, d5,
d5, queen a5 check, bishop back,
bishop d2,
knight b4, castle. I was trying to remember the intricacies here, but because I'm a queen for piece and pawn, right? But the king is ridiculous. a3 is a big threat. Knight f7, protecting that rook.
Yeah, this looks extremely dangerous for black.
Yeah.
So
my guess is that you'd both prefer to play with the white pieces from this position.
Yeah, of
probably.
course, yeah. That's I was sort of hoping you would gamble and play this position on. And of course, things can go wrong, but it's a fun position to play as white.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember. I think there was some computer line, queen b5,
knight f7,
knight f7, rook g8, bishop e3 check,
but
b6, rook d2.
Even if you play knight e5, do I have?
Yeah, knight e5 is also g5 or g6 or something, and it says it continues at 0-0. But
you've gone really fast. Have I got this right?
Well,
probably throwing bishop e3 check, b6 first for before knight e5. For some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I think knight e5, some positions that wanted g5, some g6. I think here g5.
Okay.
So Gawain, you've actually prepared this. You've actually looked at this.
I looked at it this morning. Yeah. I wasn't expecting the caro, but then I thought if it was going to be a caro, that was that a6 is a trendy move, so some chance of getting it. And once I started looking at it, I have to look deep enough to make sure I'm not just a queen down. Yeah, I think rook
was
d2
part of the thinking that Nodirbek's he's ambitious with black, and that he'll probably try something that avoids a scenario where there's a chance for a quick draw.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But then I had really no idea.
Right. Yeah.
You play everything, but
how tempted were you to go king c7? We thought that you'd have a big think when it got to the check on.
I thought it's incredibly dangerous to play. To play on because first of all, I didn't know. What is the evaluation? It could be like, why is just winning?
Yeah.
So I thought it's extremely risky, and this is only first round, and I didn't want to take too much risk.
Right, sure.
Yeah, I'm not really going to bluff that if it's not working entirely, then I'm not going to play the line, right? So it should be at least some sort of equality.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, well, very professional start from the both of you.
I should mention, of course, it's been a fantastic day for Uzbekistan with Javakhir Sindarov winning the World Cup. What would you like to say about that?
Yeah, I'm incredibly happy for him. It's a big success for Uzbek chess. He truly showed a good quality. He was incredibly brave in every game. He was looking forward to fighting every game, even with black pieces, and at the end it paid off, and he played incredibly well and well deserved. It's a huge result for Uzbek chess, and it's not the first time that Uzbekistan has showed good results. Also, I need to mention that we won the Chess Olympiad in 2022. also in India, in Chennai. So India has been, a very successful ground for us. So yeah, I'm very happy for him, and big congratulations.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, an incredible achievement. Yeah,
it's awesome. Yeah.
Great.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, we won't take up any more of your time. Thanks so much for coming to join us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Fascinating to see that game. It burnt out very quickly, and it was like the expectations weren't and ambitions for both players, unfortunately, weren't quite matched by the opening that they found themselves in, and they both wanted to fight, but they both felt they had to kind of take an early exit.
Yeah. Well, Nodirbek said that he just didn't know this knight g5 moves exist, so...
I mean, I thought it was funny when Garwin said, "Oh yeah, I was looking at it this morning."
Yeah, no, and I guess like if you're going to give your queen, then you need to do a bit of homework, or at least offer it. So, just kind of unfortunate, really, because like Nodirbek said, if he knew this sort of sub variation within,
he probably wouldn't have gone into
system
this.
That he played. He just would have played something else.
Sometimes it happens.
But I think that, when they're playing at this level, it's kind of very difficult to avoid everything that, whether there isn't a drawish line available to white.
Very true.
It is what it is.
Yeah. And Yeah, very interesting. We said some nice words about his compatriot Javahir Sindarov, who's just won the World Cup.
Yeah.
And he did play brilliantly. He's only 19, but I mean, as Nodirbek said, he fights in every game, but not recklessly.
Yeah.
You know, his whole attitude is incredibly positive.
Yeah.
And I thought it was, really deserved, actually.
Yeah. Some classy players in that World Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, to beat Yi in the final, it's extremely impressive. I mean, Yi's chest was looking just very watertight.
Yeah.
Super solid.
He is super solid, but
opportunities whenever he's been given.
Sure, but I find him, he's more conservative than Sindarov, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And playing quite principled, correct chess.
Yes.
Sindarov maybe taking a little bit more risk, and maybe a little bit of more ambitious, which can backfire, obviously.
Yeah. But anyway,
works out well for him.
As Nodirbek said, Uzbek chess looking in a very healthy place at the moment. Absolutely fascinating.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Nodirbek is only 21 years old.
Yeah. Like 21 or 22.
He's 21. Firouzja is 22.
Okay.
And Sindarov, 19 years old. Yakabayev, 23 years old.
It's impressive, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Got 2 top 4 finishes in the World Cup.
Listen, let's go to the game between Mishra and Vitiugov, because this is really kicking off.
Okay. So I think we left it at this point. We pointed out that although this pawn on c4 is attacked twice, White's got a resource to pick up a piece with check if Black was foolish enough to capture it. We said at a glance that castles looks natural, but then Vitiugov goes in a very different direction with this h5 move.
But we also said that White has several very natural attacking options. I mean, the direct e5, f4. You mentioned, and I have to say I quite like f4. So h5 is an attempt to take the initiative. He doesn't want to sort of fall into one of those positions where he's just being attacked on the king side. So incredible move. I can see that we're looking at this on chess.com, and the computer on chess.com clearly is not impressed by h5.
Right,
it's given it a question mark.
So it's just a bad move, is it? Well, yeah. Not easy to see why. So h5, I mean, it does really raise the stakes, h5. It's like, where is a safe haven for the Black King now?
Definitely. It looks a bit funny to me.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it has its points. To get h4 in and push this knight backwards is very desirable. And maybe it's a case of, if the centre does stay closed for some time, then that Black King is not under too much threat.
But okay, I mean, he's gone e5, which is, of course, very, very forcing variation.
Yeah, so
but what if instead of e5, what if White just played h4? So my idea is, I just want to put my bishop on g5. Now, if I play bishop g5 straight away, h4, and potentially even rook h5 in some positions. But anyway, I'm just going to play h4 and bishop h5.
Yeah.
But excuse me, bishop g5.
Bishop g5, yeah.
And h5 could be vulnerable.
Yeah. So I want to, if it works, then I want to go for this. I want to drop the knight.
I was just looking at this. And I was wondering, so queen h4 threat. And I was just wondering if I can get away with knight h5.
Yeah.
Probably not. Queen h4.
Taking this pawn.
Yeah.
I guess, is there anything else other than to follow up with this?
But the knight is trapped, isn't it?
White's going to need a very good follow-up at this point to justify it.
Okay, so let's put the knight back on h5.
Okay.
So...
Well, you could advance and you get some protection of the knight this way.
And then the knight moves, knight to f8.
Yeah, I mean, when we're kind of looking at this system as White being the one attacking on the king's side, then it's kind of roles reversed in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Start to look very bad that H file's opened up.
Okay, so what about instead of f4, what about knight f4?
And knight drops back. Again, it's whether with white you're happy about this H file being opened.
Not very.
And given that black didn't commit to castling it, it doesn't feel quite right to.
Yeah. Okay. So all right, my h4. I think knight h7 is a clever move. Yeah.
But without it, then h4 makes a lot of sense because you really get the opportunity to cement the bishop on g5.
Well, okay. So the other move is bishop g5
if you
straight
just put
away.
it there anyway.
Yeah.
But then this must be very concrete as well. If h4 is coming in.
Yeah.
Can you then get away with playing e5?
I'm
get
not.
A situation.
I don't like the look of that. Somehow it feels a bit fishy, doesn't it? Okay, you just want to. I don't know.
I mean, you're giving the piece back with black, and then if you're able to just keep some control of the situation,
I wonder if black's king can head to the queen side. So in this position, okay, a slightly mad idea. But what about queen d7?
Okay.
And after e takes f6, so then you play g6 and castles queen side. Yeah, just block it up. You've got c4 in the bag.
Yeah.
The king is much safer on the queen side.
Yeah, it's interesting. Black has had to invest a pawn to do this. And the unopposed bishop that white's got might be able to operate again along this. Oh, sorry. Bad line there. How do we get rid of that? Yeah, might be able to operate along this diagonal. Not sure. I mean, also, you said about the king going to the queen side. Kind of wondering if the king sits quite well behind this cluster of pawns. Obviously, there's going to be a capture on f6 at some point to get material parity back. But then, when black recaptures, the king could just sit quite well behind those pawns too. And then the rook on h8 is making a lot of sense where it is. I don't think I'd be too afraid of this.
No, I mean, there are a few options I think we can see for black. So if we go back, instead of playing e5 immediately, my thought was simply after h4 to drop the knight back. So bishop g5, h4, h4, and then drop it back to either e2 or indeed h1 might be a move and put it on f2. I don't know.
Difficult to say where's best for the knight.
I'm going to put it on h1.
Okay. Yeah. It does feel a little bit in the way on e2.
It does.
And although this looks like crazy to put a knight in the corner, the routes back into the game.
Once it comes to f2, I think I'm a lot happier, actually. It doesn't get in the way.
Of options there.
And if rook h5, you can always just play f4 to support the bishop.
Yeah,
I mean, I do like that pin.
Yeah.
That pin on the knight on f6 is very nice for white.
It's annoying, isn't it? I wonder if can you just try and get out of it and offer white to inflict the damage on the structure.
Yeah, but now might be the time to play e5.
Yeah,
don't know. Anyway, listen, this is of course nowhere near the game.
Right, so we've
gone down a rabbit hole, of course.
So he goes with e5, takes h4. So it shows how committal h5 is. In that, I mean, Vitiugov's really had to weigh this up because like White's continuations kind of forced black to react very directly. h4, takes on f6, takes on g3, takes on g7. And on the face of it, it looks like white's king's in a bit of danger, but then concretely, maybe there's no way for...
This has actually happened, has it?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, unless the broadcast is playing tricks on me. Because we haven't input those moves, and that's where we've got to. Takes on h2 with check, and then Mishra's king sits pretty snugly behind that pawn on h2. So although it's made a lot of progress down the board, it's actually going to act as defender of the white king there for foreseeable future.
Wow. I mean, that's incredible development. Yeah, I mean, I can see now my board is refreshed and the rook has come to g8, obviously.
Okay.
Right, what's our follow-up move here?
You just kind of love for lines to get opened as quickly as possible from white's perspective, because if it stays in this structure, then black's going to get time to get coordinated and organised, and that queenside weakness in white's pawn structure is going to start to tell for sure.
I think a big question is whether black's king can actually find safety. You know, can it reach the queen side? If it does reach the queen side, is it safe? I mean, okay, what if I start with either, clearly that bishop on c1 needs to play a really strong part in the game. So either bishop f4 or queen e2. Queen e2, you know, maybe rook d1 afterwards. I don't know. Bishop f4.
I like both of them. I think it's, well, I don't know whether he's played a move or not, but feels like a big decision because there's a few attractive moves there. Okay, queen e2. Purpose of covering the c4 pawn. If black were to capture on g7, then maybe white can start looking for some initiative with the queen coming into a central point at e5.
The only, I mean, one qualm I have with bishop f4 is that queen f6 might happen, hitting the bishop, and then black can castle queenside very, very quickly. Yeah. And that's quite awkward.
So you might get a scenario like this where white picks up this pawn on h2, but black castles, and then the trade-off doesn't, it feels like it's massively in black's favour.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, black is going to take on g7, hit the h part. I mean, that's turned completely because the king is relatively safe. I've got another thought. So I'm not sure about bishop f4. Let's go back, because instead of, and queen e2 is sort of it's almost like a pass move. I mean, it could be useful, but instead of queen e2, let's come back to one of your suggestions from a long time ago. We discussed this move, rook a2.
Okay.
Just trying to bring that rook into the game very quickly, because at the moment we don't know where the bishop on c1 belongs. It could be a killer piece because it doesn't have an opponent. But at the moment, I mean, going to h6 doesn't look right. Bishop f4 would also lose time. So maybe we should start with this one, and we might be able to swing it across. Also, it keeps the option of queen a4 check. Actually, I could have played queen a4 check after bishop f4, now that I think about it. But no, I think...
Should we have a quick look at that? So we're saying after this, that could be an interesting move to...
Yeah, king e7.
Okay.
I guess. And again, I think there's a slight problem with the bishop. You know, you've got to waste time with the bishop.
Doesn't feel right.
No.
We've not mentioned the move that I instinctively want to play.
Go on.
So you said rook a2, and we've looked at queen e2, bishop f4. Kind of want to go f4. I mean,
I don't know. I'm laughing.
No. It's just it just feels like there's quite a lot of options, and whether like f4, it does feel very committal, because also by playing that pawn up the board, the long diagonal is then weakened. Whether black can take advantage of that, no idea. The idea behind f4 for me was that we just want to get as many lines opened as possible, as quickly as possible. I want to go f4, f5 and take on e6. Whether I've got time to do it, no idea. You don't like it, do you?
No, do you know?
Well, it's weird, because that's my instinctively. You know, if I was playing a 5-minute game, I'd go f4 without thinking. Yeah.
It's kind of it's definitely the English school of chess, isn't it?
No. I mean, it might just be that I'm a bit rusty, you know. And
No. But you're right. If you want to, you know, blow open the position, I think the question is, can black's king get to the queen side quickly?
Yeah. It might just be asking too much of the position, because it's 2 pawn moves to get the the exchange on e6.
Okay, so let's look at a concrete line. So what if I play queen d7?
Yeah.
So the point of queen d7 is to cover that diagonal, so there's no queen a4 check. I also potentially castle queenside, and potentially I also just take on c4, eliminating that bishop on d3.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be testing me now. How about this move?
Okay.
Oh.
Well, okay, that's a funny situation, because if I castle queenside, you've got queen a8 check.
Yeah, and actually, that might not even be a good move. I mean, you can land this check, which is what I wanted, but you could reach a situation like this where like it's been an absolute disaster.
That's a car crash.
Yeah,
that's a Yakobayev queen.
No, I'm guessing that castle's queenside is a very decent answer to queen f3. Which renders the move kind of pointless.
But there's such a bizarre variation.
Yeah. But the instinct is going for f5 and just carrying it on.
All right, castle's queenside again.
Right.
Someone on YouTube has said, with our background here, it's like we're sitting at Wetherspoons waiting for the pints to come. Now that would be a good idea.
Yeah. It's true, isn't it? So
that's a great comment, actually. I don't know who it was. I should look back. Dean Martin made that comment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, we better not mention it to the building managers. So.
Yeah. This looks quite good for black, doesn't it?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
I'm gonna be honest.
Go on.
Because I'm looking at it from chess.com. There's a bar at the side.
Oh, it's better for white.
Quite like
you cheat.
But I have absolutely no idea why.
How funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
So castle's queenside, and then, well, I mean, obviously there's a concrete threat coming down the d file.
Exactly. What's not to like?
But if we take on e6, saying, I mean, I don't think there's any serious follow-up, actually, if you just get the supported pass pawn here. It's not worth a piece. Absolutely not.
I suppose not. It reminds me of that Slav variation, you know, the Botvinnik variation.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on, take on e6.
Take on e6.
In this position, after white takes on e6, I don't think I want to take the bishop, because then takes, and then white takes on f7 with those two beautiful pass pawns. So
but there's not really many options. I mean,
all right, so I
look at queen takes, but I think that this works.
The pawn.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yes, bishop
I think
f5.
that this works because whichever piece you decide to take, I think that white's going to play a move and capture one with check.
I'll pass on that one, thank you.
Okay. So we go back to pawn takes.
Pawn takes.
Now what?
I just want to, I'm still hitting that bishop. I'm happy. Yeah. What is does the computer still think white is better?
Well, it does. Whether that's trustworthy or not,
the eval bar.
Just no idea.
That's mad.
But
well, maybe it just wants...
There's something very interesting going on with this g7 pawn. Just humour me. This might be a disaster, but...
Bishop h6.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
bishop
it
h6.
Takes, then takes.
Okay, now...
Then takes.
Rook f8.
Check, and it's all kind of forcing, but...
Yeah, and then just rook f1. Rook f1.
Yeah.
Maybe
or
it's
even more forcing is after the rook comes back to protect.
Take.
Is
rook
there
f1.
a good move in this position?
Well, rook takes g7 might be
the
best.
Brings about well, I guess
and
you've got to say a prayer with black if you're gonna try and hold
it. Obviously very good for white.
Yeah.
Probably winning. Okay, so that's interesting. I should say for those watching online that we're actually today, for this first round, we're in the offices of the sponsors. So we're in a meeting room here with all the tech set up around. You can't see it, but there's lots of tech around us.
It's cozy, isn't it?
It is cozy. That's one word for it. And actually, the players are just one floor below playing the games. But that's why we're able to actually have the players come in for an interview. So we are on site. But tomorrow we move to the Emirates Stadium. That's the home of Arsenal Football Ground, and there'll be a little bit more space. But we couldn't start off the tournament there because, of course, tonight it's Arsenal against Bayern FC. So Harry Kane's back in town, I guess.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
It's a shame he wasn't back in town for the North London derby.
We've just
no good. So we're on to this one, a bit of a crazy sequence, which is actually, I mean, the liquidation's kind of, I don't know, it's taken a bit of tension out of the situation, and I think it's difficult decisions for both sides.
Okay, so
Mishra's played a move in this position, which was not on either of our radars. It's gone bishop e4 here.
Bishop e4. So again, I should say we're not using an engine. However, we can see the eval bar, and it's not impressed. Was it impressed by f4? But your f4. I'm just curious.
Doubt it. I don't think it was. I don't know it doesn't like it, but I don't know the reason why.
It's absolutely. I mean, those variations were amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly the most direct way to play. Yeah. Was it just? I'm just curious.
Can I point something out?
Go on, please, please.
It might just be nuts to do this. I wonder if f4. Yeah, I wonder if f4 trying to open up the lines as much as possible might actually run into this. But this, maybe this is just going to work out very well.
It does.
At a glance, I was kind of hoping
bishop
this
f5.
might work. Yeah,
bishop f5
okay.
must be winning.
Okay. Is this really
rook,
that bad?
I mean, you can play rook d1.
Oh, you can play rook d1 and win the queen. Yeah. Wow.
Fair enough.
I'm playing in the tournament tomorrow.
Good luck.
I reckon I'm going to go. Yeah. Certainly won't be allowing this variation with the black pieces.
Okay, so bishop f4.
Yeah. So we got... So it didn't like f4 for some reason, but it also doesn't like Mishra's bishop e4. I mean, chess.com is giving that a question mark, which seems a bit harsh because the eval bar hasn't moved that much.
Well, I can see that Vitiugov, after bishop e4, has exchanged queens. So queen d1, I assume there's no Zwischenzug, so rook d1. And then...
Is this where we're up to?
He's just taken on d1, so I assume Mishra is away from the board, or this board hasn't refreshed. Okay, so what does black do? I mean, the rook is on prise. So do you offer an exchange? I mean, playing rook d8 doesn't look right, does it? Because then white could play bishop h6 and bishop h7.
I think this is Mishra's thinking, in that he's allowed the queen exchange, and what he's going to get in return is time to defend the pawn on g7. So he's going to get bishop h6 in, but it just means that attacking prospects are now out of the window.
Okay, so this is very interesting. So maybe black has to play bishop b7 in this position, just to get rid of one of the bishops. Otherwise, bishop h6 and bishop h7 comes.
Yeah. This is very concrete. It's like a situation in which you get to hear.
Yeah.
I think it's super difficult to judge.
So
if black can pick up the g7 pawn, let's say in exchange for the h2 pawn, positionally that's a disaster for white. He's not got the bishops anymore. He's left with the long-term structural damage on the queen side.
Okay, so basically the knight has to reach f5. Or
maybe
via e8
as
well to get to the pawn. So king e7 is a start.
Yeah.
And then the knight can either go knight d6 to e8 to pick up the
like
cheap pawn.
Where it is, because it covers a few squares on the d line. I mean, ideally,
I just want to get rid of that pawn and the bishop.
Yeah.
So king e7 must be a reasonable start anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then the knight comes over, either knight d6 to e8 or knight d6 to f5.
I'd be very nervous to commit to this with white, because everything hangs on to, can you keep hold of the g7 pawn?
Yes. Is there time? It's all about time, isn't there?
If this drops, then it's a disaster. But having said that, white takes on h2 and is currently a pawn up.
It's actually very difficult to bring that knight over. I mean, for example, knight d6 gets hit by bishop g5 check.
Yeah.
F6, then you take on f6, obviously.
Yeah.
And then white's better.
Yeah, white's definitely pressing in this rook and pawn ending.
And
if you really want to get the knight over, I really want to get rid of one rook and potentially get the knight to f7 instead. It feels like it's It feels like it's possible.
Okay, so f6.
Probably start with f6 with the idea.
Right. So like in fact, instead of king e7, perhaps f6.
Maybe. The thing that I like about your king e7 though is that it does cover the d6 square, so that frees the knight up.
Yeah, I mean, probably it's got to be played anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
but
if
f6
you were to accelerate like this, then maybe this could come in at this point. King e7, rook here, and then are there any other nice moves?
Yeah,
I like king e7. I feel as though temporarily pawn down, but this could turn south for white if that g7 pawn doesn't remain.
Okay, so still very much in the balance. Can we shift games? Because I'd really like to look at the game between Alireza Firouzja and Sam Shankland. Sam's been having a pretty good autumn. Did okay in the US Championship, or did he? No, maybe he made...
Oh, you're asking me now. I don't know. I don't know how it went for him.
I can't remember, actually, to be honest.
Obviously had a very good performance in the World Cup.
Yeah.
So we reached this position. Obviously, a lot of theory attached to this. Firouzja's rook b1. Not sure if it's rare or not. I think the old tries used to be queen d2, rook c1. So maybe a slight deviation into something a bit more uncharted.
Well, as you mentioned, the way that Topalov was playing it was going for this kingside attack with queen d2, exchanging the bishops, and then potentially f4. So this is a very different way of playing.
Yeah,
and I'm looking at the database here. If we just go forward a little bit, so bishop e6, typical Grunfeld. Basically, you give a pawn on the queen side, at least a pawn. There could be two going, but it's about controlling the c4 square. So bishop e6 takes on b6, and Sam, after bishop takes b6, played queen c8, which according to my database is a novelty. There we are. There was a game which previously went queen d7, but queen c8 is apparently a new move.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's taken a slightly less interesting course than it could have, with white going after the extra material as opposed to going for the attack in the lines that we looked at a bit earlier on.
Okay, but this is very complex.
Yeah. This is by no means easy for black to demonstrate full equality. Say that things that are on black's side are that probably one of these pawns is going to drop off in the near future.
Okay, well let's see. We've got some moves. So a4 played.
Okay.
So after queen c8, a4, knight c4.
I mean, it's worth saying that black's compensation here lies in the fact that these two minor pieces are coordinating so well and hit the weak points in white's position.
And the big problem for white is the knight on e2.
Yeah,
that's always the problem in this variation.
It's really on a bad route. As far as jumping forward, it can go to this square where it eyes up squares that are very well controlled by black. So it's kind of a timing issue as well. This bishop on d3 is not a very nice piece either. Often finding that it has nothing better to do than exchange itself for whichever piece lands on c4 for black. So yeah, I mean, the strategy for white obviously is going to be, can he hold on to one of those queenside pawns and get coordinated to make it count? And black's relying on the much better coordination and activity that he has currently to just mop those pawns off the board so that he reaches.
Well, we've got quite a few more moves.
Yeah.
Took on c4.
Okay.
It's a beautiful piece. So it got eliminated. a5. Okay, so that locks in the bishop. And yeah, it's that knight on e2 is a problem. Queen c6. I can imagine this is still Sam's prep. You know, he hasn't used that much time. Queen c2 played. Rook fc8. Rook e1, rook fe1. The computer apparently didn't like rook fc8. Looks like the most natural move on the board to me. But
Yeah. Ultra critical on where these question marks are turning up.
Bishop e6 played. Okay, and well, that's as far as I've got on.
But who would you take? Who would you prefer to be?
Okay, let me tune in. White. I mean, does it seem pretty obvious?
100% I'd take white.
I mean, look at the pawn on a5 and bishop on b6.
Yeah, it's that white has managed to get this clamp where an extra pawn is quite far advanced and well protected and very difficult to target. What's not to like? It kind of feels already like it's a two results game where white risks nothing, really. I mean, even if the a5 pawn wasn't on the board and say the bishop was, back on this square, it still feels relatively safe for white. I mean, the knight on e2 is the worst minor piece on the board, but
white can always make a draw.
Yeah.
You can just give the pawn, play knight g3 to f1, and it's safe. So yeah, it does seem a slightly odd choice from Sam. I mean,
it's very interesting to find out whether this was his prep or not.
Yeah.
But just going back, I mean, it's going to be difficult for us running through it so quickly to identify a mistake.
We've got director of the London Chess Classic, Malcolm
I should have
Payne.
mentioned you, Malcolm, because I know you've had this position before with black.
I have.
Go on.
Probably on a few occasions.
Yeah, so
Grunfeld expert, Malk, come on.
I was a bit staggered. So I analysed this position for my book that I wrote in 1979.
Wow, okay.
Hot theory, I like this.
Way ahead of the
really cutting edge stuff.
Yeah.
The Grunfeld Defence Exchange variation, available from any second-hand bookshop, obviously. And I was completely staggered because the idea of the idea of giving up the pawn on the queen side is well known, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's been around for 50, 60, whatever years.
Yeah.
But you don't usually give up two. You can, but you would only do it when white would say go rook c1, and then it's a perfectly reasonable move to go bishop b7, pawn takes pawn, queen c7 would be a typical continuation. You give up one pawn, and you'd play on the c4 square as you've been talking about, and play on the a file like you've been talking about. But to do it after rook b1 is either something that Sam has looked at with a computer. But I was just saying, as a Grunfeld person, I would say that move rook b1 says, I'm going to take on c5 now.
Yeah,
that's what it says.
Well, and he did, and then he took on b6.
Absolutely,
and now we're looking at this position.
As a Grunfeld person, I would say,
Stevie, do you want to just go to the end of the line?
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, this looks bizarre to actually allow this clamp with the pawn on a5 and the bishop on b6. I mean, this is very odd because white has security.
Absolutely. I mean, if I was playing this as black as a Grunfeld player, this for me would be a nightmare. And after rook b1, I would instinctively play. I mean, I don't know what the computer would want to play, but I would instinctively play after rook b1, not e5, c takes d4, c takes d4, e6. And now what I've got is a typical Grunfeld position where instead of the rook being on c1 on the open file, it's on b1, where frankly it doesn't do a lot.
Logical.
And I would say, in Grunfeld terms, you're a happy man.
Yeah.
So I'm really surprised by, but I assume he's just looked at it with the computer, or else he's forgotten something. Who knows? But yeah.
Well, I mean, it's fascinating when we were talking about the opening with Gawain and Nodirbek, that, you know, there's this assumption that these professional players, I mean, elite players, Abdusattorov, really one of the strongest players in the world, that somehow their theory is just exhaustive.
Sure.
And yet, Nodirbek said he didn't even know about knight g5.
Yep.
I mean, this is absolutely fascinating. Whereas Gawain said, I was looking at it this morning. Yep. And Nodirbek just started laughing because he realized, okay, I was right to just kind of check out with a draw.
Yeah, he was.
There's a lot of luck in opening choice. There really is. But a lot of luck in opening choice.
Of course. But yeah, I'd be very surprised. I know what the computer would think, but White must be at least nearly a pawn up in the position you were looking at.
It looks good. I mean, we haven't got the computer on, but I think chess.com has the eval bar, so I don't.
It's slightly ropey, that one, but
yes, it's not the strongest computer. Yeah,
I think this was maybe thought of as a bit of a main line for this.
Yes, this has been played.
So you just get a very big difference.
There's also another main line, which is after e5, d5, f5.
Ah, yeah.
And I was once walking along. My wife took me on a holiday a couple of years ago around Christmas to Malaga, and the idea was that there'd be no chess. And so we went for a walk around the town square, and it turns out there's a guy who lives in Malaga, sets up chess there every Thursday afternoon, and we just blundered right into it. And I thought, well, I don't want to take part here. I don't want to upset my wife. But in the end, she said, "Oh God, you want?" I said, well, "I don't really want to play." But in the end, I thought, well, all right, I'll have a game. And usually, when you're playing street chess, people are not that strong, right? Most of the time, they're a lot stronger than they were 30 years ago, of course, now. But I ended up playing a guy from Italy, it turned out, and the game went exactly like this. Shocking.
And this is exactly what Black's aiming for with these systems.
It is,
right?
yeah.
And on the face of it, if you see it for the first time, White's been given this supported pass pawn in the centre. But once the position maybe closes down a little bit like this,
Black's knight's coming to d6.
Yeah,
it's so good.
You've got these three minor pieces for White, which they feel wrong where they're sat.
They've got no mobility at all, have they, collectively? Yeah.
And although sort of long-term pawn structure kind of looks favourable to White because of this passed pawn, there's a lot more dynamism in Black's position.
On both wings, right?
Yeah, on both wings. And like you say, this knight can reroute to a very nice sort of, not an outpost, but it just kind of plays on both sides of the board from there.
Yeah.
This
is heaven.
Yeah, I imagine that. Did you get this in your game?
I was fortunate.
Kind of
I managed to. I think I took on f5 because I just didn't want to have this happen.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah.
You were.
You were on the white side.
You were white.
Okay.
I thought you were black.
Yeah. No, I was shocked. No, I played this on the side. I was absolutely shocked, and
so you might get something like this.
Yeah. And it was, but it was grim. I mean, I was nearly humbled in the street. What can I
say? And that's another story.
I'll leave it to it, guys.
All right. Cheers, thanks, Malcolm.
Thank you. Yeah, it is strange.
Just very quickly, for those who don't know, that was Malcolm Payne, who is the director of the London Chess Classic tournament. So there we and international master, very strong player as well. So, sorry, Stephen.
No. Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because we've got a few moves down the line. So after Rook B1 takes, and it's some compensation, but it does feel as though once this clamp on the queen side's coming with the bishop on b6, supported pass pawn on a5, it's two results game. How is Black ever going to win this position, and how is White ever going to lose it? And I think that Black's got a lot to do to justify the opening play there.
Yeah, I mean White. I think we've actually got a couple more moves. We've got Rook E1, Rook FC8. Sorry, Rook E1, Bishop E6. So it's now Alireza to move. I mean, I would be tempted to move that knight at some point, and maybe you've got to time it right. But just to give up the C3 pawn, as long as I can find a nice route. I mean, I would like to to sort of nudge it to e3.
You want to get it to this way.
Yeah, exactly. But it's got to go via g3 to f1 to e3.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no need to rush it. Not sure.
I think something in Sam's favour.
Yeah, good. Let's pitch the other side.
That, although it's obvious that White's doing quite well here, to improve the position for White is going to take some skill.
Yeah.
Because kind of every move, you feel like there's maybe a little drawback to it. Moving the knight drops the c3 pawn. Obviously, the bishop wants to keep coverage of the a5 pawn. And then how do you activate the major pieces as well? So, although we're singing and dancing about White's position, it is still going to be a difficult task to prove that this is something tangible.
Yep, definitely. Let's move on. Do you know a game that we haven't even touched is Pavel Ilyanov?
Yeah, we need to get to that one.
Against Nicholas Theodorou. So we have Pavel Ilyanov, who is 42 years old, I think, against Nicholas Theodorou from Greece, 25 years old. And Theodorou has really shot through recently. He's Greek, but he lives in Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. He's been studying there, and I think he's still studying there, actually. On a chess scholarship, but he obviously is a very talented and hardworking guy, because I think he's studying something like theoretical engineering or something like that. Or, but yeah, I always find it impressive when players, then they're not just professionals, but he's made a big breakthrough, and yet he's been studying something very, very serious at the same time. He might even be doing a master's at the moment, I think.
Okay.
So, yeah. Right, so what happened in this game?
Sicilian, and Elyanov goes with c3. So, yeah, it's got a bit of a reputation of being super solid for White, and I guess it got some recent attention where Magnus has used this to try and sort of hold easily when he needs to with the white pieces. So let's see how it develops. We got knight f6 in this position, which is kind of you're kind of suggesting that now that these c pawns have been committed, that after this central advance, the knight is going to be on a potential outpost on d5. So when we get, after d4, just quickly showing this, well, we could go d6 on knight c6. That knight sits quite well here, whereas if the c-pawns were on the board still, it would be getting chased around a bit. So that's the justification for moving the knight twice there. Instead, we get bishop c4. I think that maybe a bit of a modern trend. Knight e6.
There are lots of ways of playing this for white. And I mean, against c3. I mean, I'm a Sicilian player, and as you are. I've played 2 knight f6 and I've played 2 d5. But for me, they're too well known. I always like to, if possible, try to upset my opponent and cut across their plans. Yeah. And this is kind of the main line. But it's not just that. It's actually quite tricky for black. Got to be very careful. What do you normally play against c3?
Make it up.
You think
I don't.
That justifies 2c3.
Well, I think what you said, kind of switching with black. So with 2c3, it's not necessarily I think my opponent wants a draw, but I do like to have options. And I do think that c3 is a bit less critical, which means that you can play a few different systems against it and get a sound position. So switching between d5 and this, I've actually never faced bishop c4 on that move.
Okay, but I mean, this is not uncommon.
No,
and it's quite a reasonable line.
Yeah.
I actually, in the end, I switched to 2e6.
Okay.
And I was very comfortable.
But you play a bit of French defence.
I'm happy with the French defense.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But very often, I would sometimes get the advance, but not very often. I mean, I'm very comfortable with the advance variation. It's certainly not the most critical. But very often I would just get these isolated queen's pawn positions, actually.
Yeah. We'll just go back there very quickly to show this. So e6 is possible, and then after d4, d5, and then there's chance that it goes back into a French advance.
Yeah, okay.
But you think c3 Sicilian players may not want to do that?
Some play it, but actually it's quite rare.
Okay.
Most of my opponents just took on d5. Yeah. And I really like isolated queen's pawn positions. Okay. So, I was always very comfortable playing this.
Right.
And what I like about it is that it's often surprised a lot of c3 players.
Yeah.
They're ready with knight f6, they're ready with d5. And this one, they were kind of a bit at sea.
Yeah, okay.
They kind of improvised.
Interesting. I might try this.
And actually,
selling it to me.
I really liked it. Well, I recommended this in my Anti-Sicilians course.
Okay.
For Chessable, and the book as well. And, I had a lot of people writing into me saying, wow, that works really well.
Okay.
My opponent just didn't have a clue. Nice. There you go. I'm doing the big sell now.
Yeah. I'm buying your book after that.
Good man. Buy the course.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
But it's preference. It's personal preference.
Yeah. I mean, it's the French advance has found itself being quite a serious try. I don't think it used to be favoured over the kind of main lines with the knight coming out to c3 on move 3, but
it is. Yeah, it's currently quite trendy, but again, I don't think it's a big deal for black. It's a very secure.
If you're willing to go for that, then obviously playing in this way is an additional option.
We should look at the game.
Yeah,
there's a lot happened.
c4, knight b6, so d6 here. Okay. Just on the d6 move, there are other ways to go about this. Black can try chasing down this e-pawn after c4, bishop c2, maybe queen c7 or knight c6. I think this kind of thing was an old line.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what goes on after it, after this g5 move.
But again, we're on.
It's kind of it's another direction that black can go. To try and get a bit of imbalance.
But Theodoro...
He goes d6, which looks very solid.
Yeah.
Just immediately asks for white to cede a bit of space.
d4, yeah. And, Ulyanov is playing in a very technical way. He simply, exchanged in the middle. He's gone for an endgame, and to my eyes, white is very slightly better, because if we just look at those pawns on the queen side, the pawn on c5 and the pawn on c3. So the pawn on c5 is advanced, and that means there are weak squares on d5, d6, potentially b5 as well, and that pawn on c3 does a very good job of controlling the squares. So and of course, the bishop on b3 is also a pretty good piece. Striking down to f7, and if black pushes with c4, then again it gives some squares away. And at the moment, you can see black's back rank. The bishop is on c8, d8. They need to come into the game to connect the rooks. Ulyanov played rook e1, okay. Claiming a file, bishop g4, and then knight a3. That move I really like. So starting to take control over b5 and c4, and then bishop f6 played. So just clearing the bishop off the back rank. Not that it's hitting anything on the diagonal.
Goes to show how much players value keeping bishops on the board, the strength of the two bishops, because black could inflict some damage on the structure by taking the knight on f3, but has put the bishop on g4 and is probably not interested in doing something.
I think it's just about clearing the back rank, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, bishop on b3 is just too strong.
It's like you said when discussing the pawn structure here. There are potential weaknesses in Black's camp on these light squares, and to give up the light square bishop, although there's nothing tangible just yet, a scenario like this where you've given up the light square bishop and committed your queenside pawns in a way where the light squares are a little bit more tender, there's going to be a certain point in the future where it's going to feel really shaky because this unopposed bishop's going to find its way to like very good diagonals. So that's an interesting one, that the bishop goes to g4, but it's really not interested in capturing that knight just yet.
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
There might come a time. Well, he's played bishop f6.
Yeah.
And it could be that he now intend or has it in mind that in some positions he could take on f3 and play knight e5, hitting f3, but also looking at knight d3.
Yeah, okay.
So that could be a little threat.
Yeah. I do like white, though. This tiny difference in the queenside pawn structure could amount to something.
Yeah.
And white's play feels quite easy, you know. It's
probably he can play bishop f4 here.
Yeah, I like bishop f4
just to
too,
cover e5, and of course the bishop is in a good position.
Yeah. So with the queenside pawn structure the way it is, it does feel as though white's bishops in particular are operating a bit better than the counterparts. And it's weird how those pawns influence that. The pawn on c3 acts as a bit of granite against the bishop on f6. So just looking at these two being the way they are, this bishop's kind of stifled. And also with the pawn being on c5, very difficult to find a nice diagonal for the black dark square bishop.
As is the knight on c6.
Yeah,
also very restricted.
Yeah.
And that white knight might just kind of, on a good day, it might float into b5 and do a little bit of damage. You never know.
Yeah. Small margins, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of work to do for white to show something here, but I'd be very pleased to have reached this.
For me, that's very typical of the way Ulyanov plays.
Yeah.
You know, he's a technical player. You know, he likes these positional grinds, you know, trying to exploit a slight weakness. That's him all over.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's an interesting one. Can we go to let's go to the all England clash, Luke McShane and Michael Adams. Let's see if we've got any developments there.
Give me a second. Here we go.
We do have some developments.
I think I'm there. It's always risky me handling the IT side. Yeah, okay. So I think when we left it, we'd got to here, and
that's right.
We mentioned about black playing quite a few moves in the opening with the knight, just to get it on the right route. Sits on a very nice spot on e6 eventually in this pawn structure. White has also spent quite a bit of time getting this queenside knight to the f5 square. So with the locked pawn structure, you can kind of afford to be moving the same pieces a few times, because in a locked position, it is about improving coordination as opposed to getting all the pieces off the back rank to claim
after this, it went rook e1.
Yep.
And then rook e8. And bishop e3. And the bishop went back to f8. So queen e2. Knight e6, so that the knight did finally reach e6. Now this is crunch moment, because if black is able to play c5 and lock down the center, I think I'd prefer black.
Yeah, always thinking about the pawn breaks for white, because white has given a bit of a long-term concession with the two bishops, and so piece play alone isn't really going to cut it. So if black does manage to prevent the d4 break here, the way that White set up the rest of the pieces has not lent itself at all to the other pawn break that you typically look at in this position with F4. So, like you say, if C5's on the board, it kind of feels like slowly but surely White's going to get pushed back.
And that's why Luke in this position played D4. So that's pawn break. You've either got to go for D4 or F4.
Yeah.
And there were some exchanges. I mean, at first glance, I would say this should be okay for black. You got the bishops. The rook is opposite the queen on E2. Feels all right for black, doesn't it?
I definitely prefer the bishops here.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, let's see how it rolled on. We've got bishop E6 played from Luke, and then I've got one more move, Queen E3. I don't know if we've got any more moves after that.
Oh, Mickey's played Queen E7.
Queen E7.
And that's the point at which Luke's having a think.
Well, I mean, to me, this looks quite comfortable for black because the bishop is going to drop back to F7, and it could bounce out to either G6 or H5.
I guess we've got to talk about this pawn structure difference, which is typical for the Spanish, right? When you get the doubled C pawns and White gets a kingside majority 4 and 3. I think to the uninitiated, the pawn structure looks good for White, right? You've got an extra central pawn. You've got neat pawns. You've got all the pieces out to seemingly active squares. What's not to like? I feel like the issue for White comes over the course of the next few moves in that Black's going to get some easy moves to improve the coordination of the position. And the two bishops are maybe going to start to show the power, show the strength at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's the bishop which doesn't have an opponent, the light square bishop, which I think can do a bit of damage. So, yeah, bishop F7 to G6, put some pressure on the E4 pawn. If the knight drops back to D2, it's not ideally placed because, you know, there could be some traffic on the D file. It feels very comfortable for black, actually. I think Luke has to be careful.
Yeah. And what you generally want to do if you've got a pawn majority on one side of the board is be able to advance it to take advantage of that.
How do you do that?
Yeah, well,
this is the thing.
It comes with some risk just because of the minor pieces that are left on the board. So we've got this unopposed bishop on E6, and this central pawn is doing a very good job of restricting its activity at the moment. If this ever advances, which I think the white pieces want, because you're gonna get extra lines for the dark square bishop if there's an exchange of these two pawns. The knight's gonna have squares to jump into. The pieces on the E file are gonna be opened up. But
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, but the happiest piece on the board after this pawn advance is going to be this unopposed light square bishop, which is just going to sort of reign free in the center of the board.
And actually, Mickey is very well set up on the E file, but there are two vulnerable pawns on the queen side, the A2 pawn and the C2 pawn. You know, if that C2 pawn advances because it's hit by the bishop, leaves D3 weak.
This is it, isn't it? This is where, we use this terminology of like weak light squares or weak dark squares. Once this pawn advances, there's a big risk of some long-term light squared weaknesses. Eventually, this C2 pawn is going to get targeted by the bishop. And if it has to go forward, then it's really a concession of light square control on the queen side and on the D file.
I think we should leave this game.
Yeah.
I think we can say very comfortable for black, but nothing yet clear.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to Abhimanyu Mishra against Nikita Vitiugov because very interesting developments there.
Okay. So, yeah, Mishra's strategy in this position, just going back as a recap, we got H5 on the board, which, chess.com is pointing out as a bad move. The bar doesn't move that much, which suggests it's probably not as bad as an engine is suggesting. And then Mishra's gone in for something very direct, where we get some piece exchanges. Black temporarily has this supported pass pawn on h2. And then, yeah, Mishra makes another big decision to allow the queen exchange. The justification being that by allowing the queen exchange, he's going to get an extra tempo to defend his pawn on g7 in this way. So but again, this is a massive decision because the structure's locked, and I feel like you really need to see ahead to be able to judge this correctly.
So we examined this position before, and we were looking at the moves
Maybe we
King
started with
E7
King
and
E7, yeah.
potentially F6, but he's actually played F6 straight away, which was your thought. Which
I liked your move as well.
But,
I mean,
but
it's the same idea, isn't it? Same plan.
Similar idea. But this is again very concrete. G4 from Mishra. Now, the king would like to come to F7 to G6, but unfortunately there's a rook D7 check.
Yeah.
So Vitiugov has played rook D8. And that means if there's an exchange, then the knight can hop to F7 to hit the bishop.
Yeah. Yeah, white, it's not really in white's interest to be giving black that extra time. The knight really wants to make its way over to one of these two squares. Obviously now this is taken over, but F7 would be a dream scenario.
So it's gone king takes H2.
Okay.
And then king F7. Whew, very interesting. So is that king... Well, listen, if the king comes to G6, kicks away the bishop, and black can take on G7, then black is better. So Mishra is up against it here. What's he going to play?
I never would have done this with white. I just never would have taken this decision because I would have found a scenario like this so hard to judge. Yeah. Like, because I feel like the whole concept for white rests around, can I keep hold of that G7 pawn? I just wouldn't have been confident enough to go in for such a direct play.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm looking at this position and thinking, well, I can see, hang on, Vitiugov's clock is, oh no, the clock is ticking, but actually it's white's move, isn't it? King F7 was the last move. Okay, so... F4 played. Oh, I see. Oh my goodness, is he just going to protect the bishop with G5?
Yeah,
How weird is that?
This is the thing. I'm saying my piece about I would never go for this, but let's remember that Mishra's like infinitely superior calculator to me, and I'm sure he's foreseen that he can support his G7 pawn.
He played brilliantly in Samarkand in the FIDE Grand Swiss.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he had some really excellent games.
Yeah. But he must have foreseen this. That he's keeping his pass pawn on G7.
Okay, so we've got something interesting happening here. So let me just continue. Let me go straight on. So I'll play King G6.
Is he locking away his bishop forever?
So this forces G5.
Yeah.
Now, what if black now moves the knight? I'm not going to take on G5. There's no need. Oh, or is there? No, there's no need. I play knight D6. I'm going to cross my fingers. So obviously I want to move the knight to either F5 or F7.
Yeah. In response to that, what do I want to do? I want to infiltrate on the D line at all costs.
Okay.
I need to get a rook to D7. So I'm looking to see if I can justify a rook lift. So first move that comes to mind is rook D3.
Okay, so after rook D3, I'll play... which one? I'll play knight F5, just because it looks nice.
Yeah. And now, can I gain a bit of time by capturing and playing rook D1?
Oh, sneaky.
Well,
sneaky. Yeah. Like it. Fair play, fair play.
Well, it's definitely not the end of the story, is it? But
it's not. I'm just wondering if
it feels like a concession if you have to lose a tempo to let white get the rook into d7.
Yeah, so rook g8, rook d7, takes, king takes, rook g7. Okay, I'll do that. So,
Okay,
so rook
Wow.
g7.
Okay.
So excuse me, rook g8.
Rook g8. So
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, it's very forcing, isn't it? It feels almost like
Okay, so
automatic move.
now I take on h6. And king h6, yeah.
Yeah.
King h6 and rook g7.
It's nice for black, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of at least fine for black.
I mean, black is probably on the right side of a draw, if you see what I mean. You know, I mean, white is trying to hold it. I mean, you can play rook a6 here.
You could play rook a6. I wonder if
I would be surprised if white loses, but black is better. I think we probably agree on that.
I think black might be doing really well here.
Yeah.
I mean,
can you get to f5
well,
quickly?
this is the thing.
Yeah.
It looks almost automatic. Defend the pawn and then try and improve the king, but that might give white time to get his king facing off on g4 like this.
Yes.
So instead of that, maybe you just rush the king to f5 and give up the b6 pawn.
Yeah.
So you play in here, takes, and get the king on f5.
Yeah.
I think this is a
very
really
dangerous.
bad scenario because
Yeah.
if that pawn drops on f4 and you get the two, two protected passed pawns,
probably
they're
very
going to
good.
be so much more dangerous than white's broken pawns on the queen side.
Yeah. I mean, I was wondering instead of taking on b6, whether you play king g3, just to put white's, because I mean, obviously in that position, white's king is just stuck on the h file.
Ah, but you can't.
No,
get
after
it
king
there.
g6.
Oh, okay.
King g6, king g3.
King g6. Oh, sorry. King g6, king g3.
Yeah.
But what's the difference? Can you still go in?
Yeah, king f3. It's just that the king is slightly better. And then take on b6, take on f4. Yeah, it's winning for black. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so this is looking quite promising actually.
So yeah,
not all four.
even if this rook comes into d7 with a bit of time, actually maybe you just don't go after the pawn on a7. I feel as though white's in bailout mode though.
Yeah.
The position that we've got to, it's kind of like, how do I neutralize this?
Yeah. Should we
rook and pawn? And
let's actually get to the position on the board at the moment.
This is what I go for, by the way. We'll go back to where we are, but that's how I go in this position.
Yeah, but also not completely clear.
No.
Take on g7, king again. The king comes to f5.
Oh yeah, this is bad too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, not easy. Not easy.
Okay, let's go from the position on the board because there's we cut down a line very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at first glance, it certainly looks like Vitiugov with black is very comfortable here. Threat, king g6. So he's played f4, has he?
I think he's played f4.
Okay, so king g6. So let's look at this again. So I was playing after g5, king g6, g5. So I'm not taking yet.
You were going knight d6.
Knight d6 here, yeah.
From the lines we just went down, it looks good.
I mean, you could take on g5, but I don't see any need to. I think it would just simplify too much.
And given my idea, to the idea that was to gain a bit of time to get the rook into d7, well, that works just the same if I don't play rook d3. So maybe...
Okay, so maybe you've got a better move here.
A bit of a waste of time. Maybe you can try a4, just on the basis that if black wants to keep it solid, you might be able to go a5 and get some activity that way.
Maybe I chance my arm after a4, I take on c4.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same, takes on d8, rook d1.
That might be very good.
I'm kind of hoping...
Yeah.
Well, just getting the knight round to f7 to take on h6 to eliminate the g7.
Okay, so so a4 looks like a useful move, I agree. Yeah.
so concrete. I'm a bit astonished that this has happened. Right? I know I keep saying it, but I'd be very uncomfortable handling the white pieces here. So yeah, just to demonstrate, we've spoken about this, but we've not put it on the board.
Yeah,
takes.
Knight c4 looks dodgy to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could end up being a bit of a disaster because his rook has to go back, and then the knight is kind of cut off from the kingside play.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't chance my arm like that.
Right.
So I'd probably just go back to what I was doing. I don't know whether knight f7 is stronger than knight f5. It does mean, you could.
You've got an extra option if it goes to f5.
Probably doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that about going to f7, like a double capture on g5, but difficult to say, isn't it, at this stage? Yeah. So knight, which one do you want to look at? I'm putting it on f5. Let's see.
Put it on f5.
Yeah. I feel as though white's kind of obliged to just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're going to get something like this. So what's the difference with... the difference with the thing that we were looking at before is that you've got an extra tempo with the pawn on a4. And that's just way too sophisticated for me.
Yeah, but it doesn't actually make a huge difference, does it? The rook ends up on a7. A5...
I think it makes a difference in a line.
E6. E6 is hanging.
So let's go into that. So
okay.
The position that we had before, this pawn was still back on the square.
Okay, so let's show that. So rook d7.
I think this is what we're getting at, right? You do all of this stuff.
Exactly.
And then in this position, rather than capturing the pawn,
you
have this extra resource, which the engine's not pleased about. We'll figure out why in a sec.
Okay, rook a7.
Rook a7.
You play rook a7, that's
get
why.
The rook behind the pass pawn.
Boom! That's an express.
Wow,
that's just fantastic for black.
So...
maybe a4.
So if we take and allow king f5 as this pawn, the pawn advance might have made a bit of a difference, because if you're getting the pawn to a6... Possibly that's enough of a distraction. Yeah, you can't take on f4 straight away, can you? This is the difference. If in this position, if white was a tempo behind and played a4, black would have rook a7.
But I think this is still very good for black. Okay, so we need the rook behind the pawn. So if I just go rook g4, if I can get away with this, I'll try this.
So you want to get
I'm too slow.
I see how here.
I'm too slow.
All right, takes. Why are you too slow? You've got the check and round.
Oh, I've got the check. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, you've got the check.
Just very quickly put that on the board. So a7. Yeah. But then this.
So this is what I was going for. So put the rook behind on a2. Yeah.
So So you go rook g4. a6.
Yeah.
Rook takes pawn. And then, we don't have time to just push the pawn. So have to either get the rook behind it or try and prevent the black rook from sorting itself out and getting behind the pawn. So do we go rook b2 or do we move the king? Or do we go rook b5?
Rook b5, that's...
Be classed to be good at rook endings.
Okay, but rook b5, rook c4, rook a5, check, rook back.
Where are you going with this?
I was going to be really greedy and take a pawn, but actually I probably shouldn't. I'll go rook f2 check.
Yeah, but I like this one. And then king here, rook here.
Rook a2.
And then
e5.
e5.
Yeah. So rook c6.
Yeah.
Such a tricky position.
Dynamically equal, I guess. Might be quite difficult to make progress with black, just the way that the pawns are, because if you if you try and, well, king forward, obviously not good because the f6 pawn drops, and if pawn forward, it's going to get met by a check.
Yeah, and white does have counterplay.
Yeah.
Probably not good enough.
And I guess the try might be to go here.
Let's go right back to the position where they're in.
Yeah, we've gone really far.
Mishra has just played f4. So instead of king g, and we've plunged in with king g6, but I'm just wondering whether there's actually an alternative in that position. You know, he is thinking a long time. King g6 is kind of the obvious move, but he is thinking a very long time. Is there an alternative?
Is he thinking that if he doesn't go king g6, that Mishra might try and prevent that forever with f5? Forever's an exaggeration, but it changes the course of proceedings, doesn't it? If white can get the pawn forward under good circumstances.
Okay, hear me out.
Yeah.
I've got an idea. So what happens if black plays rook takes d1 and then rook d8? How's that endgame?
Thinking about this earlier with the pawn on f3, and I felt as though it might ease black's defensive tasks if the rooks disappear like this.
So let's have a look. I find it really hard to assess this position full stop.
Yeah.
But it could be a way for black to actually get a very clear advantage.
Right.
I mean, this is unbelievably ambitious because, I mean, black could actually be worse if it goes wrong. You know, considering that the queenside pawns are actually vulnerable.
Every scenario that we look at, I feel like black is safe. I feel like
even
white...
here, I'm not sure. I mean, I find, honestly, I find it really hard to assess this position.
Even if you got the bishop round to this square, I don't feel as though it's
not bothered.
Well, I don't feel as though it's doing enough. I mean, it's doing something. Obviously, you're going to take.
I'm taking 3 pawns. It's not like I would have thought.
It's not like I'm going to sit there and let you take them. But even if it gets there, you would have thought black has enough time to sort the situation on the queen side out.
Let's try something. I mean, I find it, as I said, I find it really hard to assess this.
Yeah. Well, do we try this with white? I mean, touching the f and the g pawns is. I mean, it's a critical decision, isn't it?
After f5, I wonder if black can play e5, which does shut out the bishop, and then you play king g8, knight f7.
Yeah. You play king g8, knight f7. And then I guess a question is, can white step across that plan with this?
G5? Wow.
Yeah.
Am I just trying to lose this with black? When I think that has to be taken. So
is that because it's a nightmare scenario to allow check?
I think so, yeah.
Even that I find difficult to judge.
Even just taking on f6. So
anyway, just taking on f6, so you got to take it.
Yeah, so
and then this. And now this knight is clumsy, isn't it? I guess it's coming to this square. But then if you're holding the pawns like that.
Okay, so we grab the pawn on c4.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? It's
grab some queenside pawns.
The longer that g7 pawn stays there, the more valuable the white king becomes because it's just going to roam in, and black's king is preoccupied. It just has to.
Okay,
sit there.
so we've got some moves on the board.
Okay,
let's have a look what he did. I mean, again, I find it really hard to assess what's going on there.
But that's not a million miles away from a scenario that could happen.
Sure.
I think it's a big decision then for white.
I can't see what they played.
Okay.
I bet he's played king g6. I think this is.
So we go back.
I think king g6. King g6. I think is the responsible move.
He's played the responsible move.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. Vitiugov, you know, that's the school of chess he came from. You know, they don't risk, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it forces g5, right? Which has been played.
Okay, and now we were looking at knight d6.
Okay. Not easy. I like black, but actually, if you're choosing anyone to defend this, you'd want someone who can calculate far ahead. And
well, I think Vitiugov is used to doing that.
well, yeah, I mean, from a
very
defensive
interesting.
point of view.
He's taken on g5. He didn't play knight d6 immediately. He's taken on g5. So he's obviously seen some advantage in taking, and then presumably taking.
Is it absolutely out of the question to take with the bishop? I feel like it is.
Okay, so bishop.
How bad is it?
So bishop takes rook d1, rook d1, rook g7. I mean, seems to me that black.
It's a nightmare to defend, right?
Looks like a clear advantage, doesn't it? Yeah.
There's just no risk for black, and well, it's very easy to see how black can make significant.
Okay, I've got a thought. Yeah. Rook e1 in this position.
Okay.
Because you can't defend the e-pawn. Oh, you could. Apart from king f7.
The one move.
Yeah.
The one move that's
one move. Good enough.
Yeah. This is it, isn't it? It's
I'm not. But actually, this might not be so bad. Rook d1.
Back again.
I mean, I'm playing for a draw.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it? It's a sorry scenario for white.
Rook d7 check. Yeah, I mean, I'm struggling.
Yeah,
and then rook. Yeah, black is obviously better.
Vitiugov's going to be loving life.
Yeah.
I just don't think Mishra's gone for this with the thought of giving up his g7. Pawn.
No, he must take. Yeah, he's
taking back
with
the pawn.
Yeah.
What a weird situation to have a bishop locked out by its own pawns on the side of the board.
It's mad, isn't it? Mad. But somehow, I don't know about you, but whenever with black I face this Zamish variation with a3, I always got mad positions.
Yeah.
They're always, I mean, in all modesty, I had a very good record against the Zamish.
Okay.
But that might have been the kind of players that were playing it.
Right, yeah.
They were hackers. And I felt I could deal with them.
Yeah.
You know, but I always got a really chaotic position.
Yeah.
How about you? Have you got a good record against it?
There's one game that I can remember that I had against Brett Addison in a 2008 British, and it went very smoothly for me. But just had very little experience in the position with either side.
Right.
It's something that I've never really tried with white. I've kind of tried it with white, but I've done it in the situation where I've gone for e3 line.
Yeah, and then later a3.
Well, e3 castles is the main line, and then a3 is quite interesting there. Yeah. So you delay it a move to get black to commit to castle and king side.
Yep.
But yeah, hardly any games in it.
Okay, so this is slightly different. I was keeping the tension, but instead he's exchanged immediately. So he must see Vitiugov must see some advantage in playing like this. So let's see. So knight d6.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, just on this point with the bishop being locked out as it is on this square, I think the justification is that because it supports the g7 pawn, one of black's pieces is always going to be tied down to covering that pawn. So even though the bishop does absolutely nothing else in the position, it kind of restricts one of black's army. But I'd still take black here any day of the week.
But I think the point is black can choose now between either taking on g7 or taking on g5 or indeed taking on h6. So there are a lot of options here. Knight d6 played, so now Mishra has to take enormous care. I mean, it seems to me that he's on the wrong side of a draw here. You know,
100%.
he's got to play very precisely to hold this position. Not the dream start for him, I would say.
It certainly feels that way when we sort of mess about with the lines, but then the eval bar that I can see is not phased.
It's not phased.
At all.
Still thinks equal.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Let's go to McShane against Adams. So we left the position round about move 18. So Mickey had just played the queen to e7. And Luke, he played h4. Well, he needs
question mark move according to chess.com.
He needs to solve his back rank problem, but was that the way to do it? What do you think?
Well, just as a general feeling is that White's position, I think, is very hard to play at this stage already, because moving these pawns, you do want to activate your majority, but it's going to create some weaknesses. I just feel like Black's task of slightly improving his position move by move is so much easier.
I mean, if you're going to play a pawn move, the h pawn forward, I would put it on
just
h3.
Put it on h3.
Because now the g4 square and indeed the h5 square, you can imagine a queen coming to h5 and looking at those, looking at the h pawn, looking at the g4 square. I'm wrinkling my nose at h4, I've got to say. It looks a bit weird to me.
I think the way I'd see it is if you play h3, it's kind of like a slight improving move, but it doesn't really feel like there's a plan attached to it. It's kind of like, okay, slightly improve, but pass.
I think it's difficult for White to find a plan.
But this is his plan. he's gone for a bit more space on the side. So he's trying to trying to do something.
Well, let's see how it works
side.
out. So it's gone h6. So excuse me, it went h4 c5, knocking the bishop back to c3. Then h6. See, this is very interesting because Mickey, I think, wants to take the initiative on the king side. Knight h2.
Well, I had a bit of reasoning behind that. Whether it's right or not.
On h6?
On h6, it might be prophylactic against White advancing with e5.
Yeah.
So you might want to answer e5 with
f5. Exactly. No, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
So he can't play knight g5 now.
Yeah, he just covers his
Yeah,
square.
I like it. So knight h2 played instead of this. Then queen f7. Queen g3. I like the way Mickey's doing this, I have to say. Rook d8. Knight f1. And now king h7. To me, this looks like classic Mickey, just building up very nicely, pieces in the middle, little by little, just improving his position.
It looks very Luke as well. I mean, Luke must have had positions like this with Black.
Playing with Black, yeah.
Having said that, I like what White's been doing over the last few moves. Looks a bit weird for the knight to have gone backwards, but again, it's on a route to a square where it has more influence over the centre and the slightly delicate squares. Because
I suppose he's going to play f3 to guard the e-pawn and with the knight on e3.
Yeah.
Whether before or after, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I like Mickey's position a lot. I mean, I would be very concerned that Mickey might be able to play bishop d6 at some moment, and I think you've got to be ready to get in e5. I mean, it's probably okay. There's a lot of paint on the board there. You've been going to art classes.
Yeah, and failing. Yeah.
At the moment, bishop d6, I think, can be met by e5, and an exchange of those bishops would be welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it just we briefly mentioned, didn't we? If White were to play e5 unprovoked, then definitely on Black's radar is to block this so that, well, it just feels as though this bishop on c3 is locked in, and then the light square bishop still has a lot of scope, even in a structure like this.
Yeah.
Whereas it might be in might be in white's interest if bishop d6 comes on the board.
And e5 and the bishop's exchanged. Yeah.
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 So
That's
maybe just need
it's about timing somehow. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, this kind of thing might have gone in a bit of a wrong direction for black. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of in the air. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
White always has to be careful. You've got to get the timing right. Another move that may be interesting. I was looking at Queen G6, but C7 is actually on freeze.
Right.
That's a bit annoying. So how does black make progress here? I'd also like to play Queen H5, but again C7.
Yeah, the C7 point is a bit frustrating. I mean, could you play Rook D7? I mean, it's kind of multi-purpose, cover the pawn again.
I wonder, okay, another strategy. I wonder about, is it time to throw those queenside pawns forward? So B5 for black. I mean, I do like the rooks when they're protecting each other. I mean, Rook D7, yeah, maybe. But yeah, how's B5?
I also like B5. I feel as though black has quite a bit of freedom with how to proceed there.
I think B5, that feels like the move to me. Because, you could say, oh, well, white can just play B3 and then drop the bishop back. But actually, that's another pawn on white squares.
Yeah.
And that feels like that could be very nice for black. Even, playing C4.
Yeah. I mean, can we quickly look into that? Oh, we've got white's move.
It's actually white's
move. Yeah, it's a difficult move to make with white.
Well, then probably knight 93.
93, let's have a look then. B5, B3. In some ways, it feels like after B3, you might want to undouble your pawns.
With C4.
With C4, but I kind of don't like it. Or do I? I don't know. Maybe I do like it. C4 takes.
Make your mind up, Stevie.
Bishop take. The reason I didn't like it is because I'm kind of attached to keeping two bishops, but it might just be
the pawns actually look pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like exchanging one advantage for another.
Yeah,
you give up your bishop, but then you've inflicted some structural damage on the white queen side.
There's a lot of those pawns on A2, C2, E4. They're all quite vulnerable, aren't they?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So I
think that's B5.
So it's Luke's move here, and so he's contemplating whether to play 93. 93 feels like the kind of natural move. The other thing about on 93, I mean B5 definitely looks interesting, but could also play C4 first.
Can also start with C4
and then B5.
Because the pawns are coming anyway, aren't they? Black is if black wants to land the pawn on B4, it's going to happen. Like, it's just not really going to stop it. And the reason I feel like, I think Luke's position can't be that bad, but I also really don't like it. The reason being that I don't think there's an easy easy answer to the question, what's white's plan? I feel as though white is very much in reactive mode now.
But also, even if, for example, you start trading pieces, it doesn't solve all the problems. There could be weak pawns. The two bishops look great.
Well, it doesn't look like much currently, but white's queen side is going to be weak.
Yeah, there's potential.
Yeah,
black has potential. By the way, I mean,
I even wonder if he's
thinking.
I even wonder if he's thinking about A4 with white, just to get ready for if the queenside expansions come in. At least I can get a set of A pawns off the board
and use the rook on the A file.
Maybe if it does anything there, because it's kind of detached from the rest of what's going on with white's pieces. But A4 feels like a damage limitation move. You're just trying to you're trying to get as much tension released on that queen side as possible before things get out of hand.
You're sort of holding black up. Can we zip to the game? But so I mean, I think we can sum up and say, yeah, Mickey has more potential.
Black's better for sure. Though.
Let's go to the game between Alireza Firouzja and Sam Shankland. We left it. It's a very interesting move from Firouzja. So we were wondering, okay, what do we do? Okay, knight c1 played.
Yeah. And funny that miles away from the square we pointed where it wants to be, but he's gone for it.
But the funny thing is, after this, queen takes c3. He's just exchanged and put the knight back on e2.
Yeah.
Rook c4. Oh, this is very precise calculation, by the way. Very precise. Oh, this is fascinating. Basically, Firouzja went into the tank and he has calculated a really precise sequence. So after rook c4, rook ec1, rook takes e4. So he's given up the e pawn. Knight c3. The rook went all the way over to h4. Knight b5. Bishop h6. Rook d1. Bishop f5. Rook a1. Bishop c2. Knight c7. Wow. So this is super deep calculation from Firouzja. I suspect he saw this before he gave up the pawn with knight c1.
Yeah. Goes knight c1, and the justification for giving the pawns was to turn his knight into an absolute menace. I mean, the coordination that he's reached with the knight on c7 and the bishop on b6, it just couldn't be improved upon for that passed a pawn. They're in absolutely pinpoint, precise positions to get that through.
Okay, but what's actually happening? By the way,
it looks nasty for black. Is this the position as it stands?
This apparently works as far as I've got. So bishop takes rook on d1.
Yeah.
Knight takes a8, and then the a pawn is a monster.
The rook on h4 is disgusting, isn't it? It's just out of the game.
Yeah, I mean I mean the bishop on d1 is on prise.
Well, it's pretty hard to see a scenario where black doesn't have to give up a piece for the passed a pawn.
Looks winning. Okay, so we've ruled by process of elimination. We've ruled that one out.
So bishop takes d1's not on the cards.
Okay, so at the moment knight takes rook is threatened.
So I guess that.
Okay. Well, could go a6, but I don't want to because after taking on d1, then a black rook can come over to a4.
Yeah.
So I think
you want to keep that rook on a1 at all costs.
Okay.
Because the rook on h4 only really makes sense if it can swing to the queen side.
Okay, so I think I want to keep the rooks connected. So rook, unfortunately rook c1 gets taken. So yeah, rook e1. I mean, this is just about precise calculation, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit of a difficult one, that, because you would kind of think that going in, just going all the way in could be, another piece in the party. But also, I mean, black is kind of relying on exchanging off this one on a4, and you'd like to be able to get a white rook behind the passed pawn in that circumstance. But even here, I mean, I'm not sure that those moves were any good, but even this scenario looks like a nightmare for black. The pawn's getting to a7 at least.
I mean, should be winning.
It's probably just winning, isn't it? Because
by any normal standards.
Well, the thing is, if the knight wasn't on c7, then White's task would be a lot more difficult. But given it is, when the pawn goes a square forward, Black has to block the a8 square.
I'm just looking at the live feed. I think he's made a move. I can't see it. Okay. My eyes aren't that good. They're reasonable, but I can't quite see what he's played on the
if I go back to where we were.
Do we have an update?
So I think bishop c2 was on the board and Firouzja was thinking. Oh, sorry, knight c7.
Yeah, he's gone rook c8.
He's gone rook c8.
Sam played rook c8.
Which chess.com gives us a question mark, but also
Shocking.
there might not have been a good answer there. It might already be at a stage where there's no way back. But let's see.
Okay, so I was looking at rook e1.
Firouzja's thinking, and it's move. What move are we on?
29.
Move 29. He's got. I mean, it's the first time we've mentioned the clocks in any of the games, but Firouzja's under 10 minutes on move 29.
Wow.
So it's a.
Okay.
I mean, a little bit of time pressure, but for the title Tuesday maestro, probably doesn't feel it at all
yeah,
yet.
but classical games are very different from blitz. It's a different story.
Yeah.
But we should remind everyone that actually the players do get 30 seconds added per move. So it's not like he's got, 11 moves to make in,
it's not going to ensue into chaos, is it? And you said he gets time at move 40.
And an extra 30 minutes.
30 minutes at move 40, yeah.
So, okay, rook, rook e1 was my thought before. Just hitting e5.
Can we slow things down by getting this rook on b4?
Okay. Could push all the way, but actually a6, rook b6, a7.
It's also really bad for this specific reason. Just drop the knight back, and
that's a good move.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not even a case of calculating the a pawn push.
No. Okay.
So then, what else? Maybe this way. But it's the same thing that we've just kind of been looking at. Yeah, I mean, White's play is more or less automatic after that. So where is there a good move here?
Okay, what looks
this
like
one?
What looks like a good move? Okay.
It's doing anything I can to get that rook back into play.
Yeah, well, so a6. Oh yeah, well a6.
A6 is possible, isn't it? I mean, if a6 can be played, then you play it, right?
I think I'm going to be a stuck record. That's going to be my next move. Whatever you say, I'm just going to a6. Come on, Sam. You must have thought of something. But anyway, Alireza is to move.
So we've looked at all rook moves along here, and none of them are good. Can you try and cause a bit of mayhem like this?
Okay. And rook c1. That's a lot of bishops I'm attacking.
It's such a weird little dance that's going on.
Yes. Oh, love it. Love it. And rook e3, bishop d2.
Yeah.
How funny.
I didn't see any of that in just like sort of only moves.
Okay, but let's just go back because after
I think that bishop d2 might be the move.
Okay, but what if I just play rook e5? I'll forget trying to take one of your bishops. That's just too much like hard work.
Yeah. Well, I'm skewering the rocks.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Maybe this is it. The bishop's just in time.
Okay, so let's see rook e2 again.
Okay.
Rook e2, bishop c3. Okay, this time. Well, Alireza's moved. Okay, but here, surely I can find some move. This looks so dodgy.
Yeah.
So rook c1, bishop d3. Wow. And maybe the bishop comes to d4. You know, because I was thinking of some quiet move here.
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly far more difficult now to get the a-pawn rolling.
You know, there might be a killer move here, but I can't quite see it. I can see your Avalbar, and I think it's okay for black.
I'm so sorry that I'm cheating with the Avalbar.
That's amazing. I mean,
it doesn't hate black's position after rook e1, bishop d2.
But also, it doesn't like my move rook e1, funnily enough. So what
can we see on the camera? Has rook e1 been played?
He's played rook e1.
Yeah, it didn't like it.
But it's so funny that these bishops are kind of floating around without support. Normally, that's really dubious. You know, they're going to come unstuck. But it's amazing.
Just with each move, keep attacking the white rook.
White can't exploit it.
Yeah.
At least that's our impression.
So bishop d2, what's he seeing there? Must be rook e2.
Okay, and then after rook e2, you were playing bishop c3, right?
Yeah, which looks like just an only move.
Right, and takes on c2, takes on a1, a6.
Do you want to get the rook behind the pawn first,
or
do you want to go straight in with a6?
Yeah, rook a4.
Yeah.
a7.
It's not getting through, is it?
Not getting through.
Yeah.
No, it's
maybe something like this.
Actually, it's winning for
probably
winning for black.
A turn,
okay, so rook a2. Yeah.
Rook a2 here.
Yeah. No, sorry. After. Oh yeah. I mean, I was looking at takes on c2 and then takes on a1, rook a2, but I think bishop d4 is fine, isn't it?
Where are you getting bishop d4? I'm
sorry, I was
struggling to follow.
Sorry. Rook takes bishop on c2. Bishop takes a1.
I see.
Rook a2, and then bishop d4 for black.
Yeah, bishop d4, yeah.
And I think, well, black could be better here.
White's so far behind with this
There's also a back rank problem.
Yeah.
So that's an issue.
You've got to move the a1 rook in this position, but can you put it somewhere that creates a problem for black?
So incredibly...
Well, you attack one of these bishops, right? So
yeah, but it's just amazing that this always seems okay for black.
Maybe this. The thing is, this rook's getting forced off the A file somehow.
Yeah.
Can go here now. It just keeps keeps
going.
A
rook.
Yeah, just
unbelievable.
Those bishops are just absolutely class.
That's amazing. So Sam could be hanging on here. Absolutely incredible.
He's thinking he's not played bishop d2.
Okay, listen.
But he has to play it, right? We've looked at the other moves and...
Okay, I'm curious. Okay, so instead of... The computer on chess.com obviously isn't happy with rook e1. So I'm going to switch on...
What's going on?
I'm going to switch on the computer for the first time. Now, this is quite a weak program. Oh, no, this is not a weak program. Stockfish 17.1 would like rook f1 in this position after...
That is...
After rook c8, it thinks that rook f1 is the move.
It's quite deep, isn't it? I mean,
I'd like to say that's not an obvious move.
No. And I guess when you see bishop d2 and start playing around with the moves,
yeah, And you realise it.
You kind of
hangs
understand
on.
that. Yeah, it's like gaining a tempo to
Exactly.
get round into the position.
Rook F1. I mean, that's unbelievable. And it thinks that White has a clear advantage here. I mean, without going into huge detail, but I mean, that's extraordinary. I'll turn off the computer now. Just now and again, it's kind of fascinating to see why, you know?
Yeah, but in this position with Rook F1, we've looked at Rook C4, Rook B4, Rook A4, and all have downsides. I mean, particularly Rook B4 is absolutely out of the question because of Knight D5.
What's
So what is the move?
Okay, we should say this is not actually the position on the board. So Rook E1, what did Sam the man do?
Yeah, it's going down something that we looked at. He's gone, so Rook E1.
It went Rook E1, Bishop D2,
yeah,
Rook E2, Bishop C3. Sam has found it. Very impressive.
I do feel like he's walking a tightrope here. It's just that this might actually be fine.
It seems like it.
He might be out of the woods with this.
I would say so. Maybe Alireza has to be careful now. Amazing. So what's White's best? You know, I was playing quite a few variations there where I was ending up worse with White.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really impressive defense if Sam gets away with this.
So just as a reminder, Rook C1, we're going to go Bishop D3, and again, we get out of danger in that way. Just to go one bit further, Rook E3, Bishop D2, and the carnage that these bishops have created is going to bag an exchange there. So it would be nice to keep the rook on the A line behind the pass pawn, but probably both moves can be met in a satisfactory way. It's the same again. This rook gets chased again. And then if black's able to go Bishop D4 at some point, then this bind that was kind of looming with the A-pawn advance is getting broken down.
Rook C2 in that position?
In this position?
Yeah. How's that?
I guess you forced him to keep attacking a white rook. And then we guess go back. Oh.
We're being told there's some players. Okay.
Yeah.
Incoming.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, we've got another result.
I didn't even see it ended.
The players have arrived, so we're going to leave Alireza's game. He's on 4 minutes to go, and how many moves have played after? Oh,
I think about
we've
10.
lost that.
We'll
I think it was around
move
move 30, 4 minutes to go, so a little bit of time pressure, but we're going to get set up now so that we can interview Mishra and Vitiugov after their game's finished.
Yep. Okay, fantastic.
So
are we going to take a short break while we basically rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic, and we will be with you again shortly and to have a look at the finish of the game between Abhimanyu Mishra and Nikita Vitiugov. See you soon. So welcome back. I've been joined here by Abhimanyu Mishra and Nikita Vitiugov, who've finished their game. Thanks for joining me here. Fascinating game. Very adventurous. You'll play the Zamish variation.
Yeah, I decided to play this A3. I mean, Nikita is a very strong positional player. I decided that it's the first round of the tournament. Let's have some kind of an adventurous game, and let's take some risks with this A3 lines. And I feel like my preparation worked. I was prepared all the way until he played this move H5, and this is probably like the this has to be like this is a very critical moment, because
of course, yeah.
If White, I have a feeling if White plays proper moves, like it's very easy for Black to just to get a lost position like very quickly.
Nikita, what did you feel about this variation? Were you a little bit unsettled by the variation?
The thing is that first of all, I have some experience here with White, and
okay.
I lost quite an important game with White here.
Okay, good opening choice.
Definitely. And I did the worst possible thing, because I repeated some of the lines, but I didn't repeat all my notes here. So I mean, like, what I did was ridiculous, because obviously I knew that H5 it's not good, and it shouldn't be good yet. But somehow, well, I wasn't happy with. I mean, I felt that the position it shouldn't be bad, but Abi definitely he was in the book, and well, I wanted to get a game.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I don't want you to reveal all your opening preparation, but I'm just curious how, because we were looking at this position a little bit, and there are quite a lot of very tempting moves for White here.
Yeah,
I mean, it feels very dangerous, but in concrete terms, would you reveal which way would you go here?
I mean, okay, it depends whether it's top line. I'm not sure if it's top line, but it's quite a. I'll just say that position gets very sharp very quickly. There's more than one route to equality, but the moves are not very easy. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to really.
No. That's I understand,
but it's But I can definitely say for sure, like, Castle was one of the main moves, and C takes D4 was another one. And these are like the position, like, after these moves, like Engine will say, like, this Engine it shows even like a slight plus for Black, of course, but like once it's on like higher depth, it comes down and goes to zeros, but they get very sharp very quickly.
Yeah. Okay, so we won't get bogged down there. So let's H5. I mean, how did you feel when H5 came on the board?
I was happy because I knew that this was one of the moves I hadn't remembered. I checked I spent like 6 hours this morning. Like
6 hours. 6 hours. You must be exhausted. What are you doing, man?
I mean, okay, because of course these are very sharp lines, and if White misremembers, like at some point, let's say you sacrifice a piece that wasn't like, let's say, part of your notes, then things could go very haywire. Like,
sure.
So this H5, I didn't remember it. I felt like this was a very critical moment, and because if White can find, let's say, the proper continuation, like the thing is, another thing in chess is that, let's say, mistakes, they often say that mistakes, they come in bunches.
Sure.
So for example, let's say if I could find the best continuation and hope that he couldn't find the best defense, and then that way I could get a very overwhelming position. Like,
no, I mean, this is such a sharp position. It's incredible.
So here there were mainly a couple of different moves. Like E5 was, of course, the main move I was calculating, but other than this, there were two other moves, like H4 and Bishop G5.
Yeah.
Let's start with Bishop G5, I guess. Like, this was another consideration. I wasn't really too sure about this because I thought Black could go H4. And let's say I go Knight D2 and just Queen C7. And Black, I feel like he can castle Queenside whenever he wants, and this is you're not really, the whole point of this line is to attack, and I wasn't really seeing where my initiative was. So
yeah. Okay, let's go back.
Because of course, like, if Black consolidates, he can always take a free pawn on C4, and you're like, positionally you're taking a bunch of risks.
Do you know what? We were actually looking at, we didn't like the knight on E2. We were actually looking at knight H1.
Yes, I saw this too, but somehow
anyway,
it felt a bit, I mean, if H5 is not part of my book, and like playing Bishop G5, H4, knight H1 feels a bit too much.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go back. So yeah, Bishop G5 comes under consideration. H4, we also looked at H4.
H4 I was considering, but I remember that, like, there's knight H7.
Knight H7, exactly.
And this is where
it's really dangerous.
Yeah, queen takes H4. I mean, the game sort of blows up, and
I wasn't too sure. So
you went with e5.
E5.
Yeah.
The nice thing about e5 is that, let's say, instead of h4, if black plays knight d7, after white plays f4, he's engine somehow still shows like 0-40, but it feels very risky because knight can always go to e4, d6.
Yeah.
And also knight takes h5 is it's an idea in many lines as well.
Just Nikita, what did you think?
No, I didn't consider it for a minute. No, because obviously h4 is a move, and no, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here I can resign instead. Yeah. Instead of playing knight d7.
Yeah. Okay, so this was you'd calculated this quite deeply.
Kind of. I mean, like I had a feeling that it's critical, and I'm probably worse here. But from the other hand, I hoped that the position is. I mean, white has a lot of options, and it's very difficult to pick up the best. Yeah. So and Abe was spending much time here, and well, like it's not that easy because what I did in the game, I think was quite sound because but we briefly discussed it. Coming here, Queen a4, I believe, is the critical
Queen
a4 check.
Queen a4 check.
Check. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was quite irritating because the thing is that if black goes king e7.
Well, okay, then it just has to be
just bad, yeah. Like
some bishop
e4 or
bishop e4 something. Yeah, just
white can't protect this g7 pawn, yeah, and basically the whole game is about it. And well, okay, with queens on the board, it's just gets only worse for black. Okay. So queen d7 was my intention, and here to be honest, I missed this rook d1 option, which I mentioned, because here it looks like, well, maybe I shouldn't be lost here, but it's a different game.
So yeah, I think king e7 is sort of
bishop h6. Yeah. Ooh. Now
you probably have to go f5.
F5. Yeah.
Okay. Now I guess
and,
g4.
G4. Yeah. It looks very dangerous.
Okay.
It's okay. What do you do actually? If you go bishop b7, I thought like even like gf5 could be an idea here.
Yeah, I might survive.
Huh? No, actually, that's maybe too much.
Okay.
The engine is also getting confused left and right.
Confused. That's a good word. Yeah. But this time you have two bishops. This is the massive. Even I see that this is the massive difference.
Yeah, the main issue is that compared to the game, actually, when I actually wasn't relying, like I saw all this like stuff with bishop h6, f5, and I wasn't like entirely sure about this, and I was trying to compare this to bishop e4 in the game. And the thing was, bishop e4 in the game, I actually expected him to go queen d1, rook c8, and there I'd go bishop h6, f5, bishop c2, and.
Okay, let's take a look at the game because we're getting very far away from.
Oh, also, I think it's probably important to mention that like bishop h6 directly instead of bishop e4, it fails to queen f6 in like long castle.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have queen h4 as well?
Queen h4, one of these moves, f6 or h4, I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which one was stronger, but yeah, like if he can castle queenside, I don't think his position is so
okay, so bishop e4 was the game.
Yeah, so queen d1, rook d1, and like at first I was calculating rook c8 instead of bishop b7. And now, okay, after bishop b7, if I go rook c8, bishop h6, I thought if he has to go f5 and like bishop c2, compared to the other line, his king is on e8 instead of e7. I thought this could be an improved version, but the engine doesn't think so at all, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Okay, so anyway, bishop b7. I mean, bishop b7 feels like the right way to play, just to remove the bishop.
Yeah, I sort of overestimated my position after bishop b7, knight b7, bishop h6. I thought I could keep this pawn alive for like longer, but even when it's alive, it doesn't do too much. And okay, it's g4 was just some kind of hope where I can get like f4, g5, but not really.
It doesn't. Nikita, it doesn't make a difference if you play knight d6 here. We spent, to be honest, we spent most of our time analyzing this move.
This move, yeah, because actually I was considering this 96 before. I mean, like on the previous move instead of King G6. I wasn't sure about that actually, because after King G6, I think I forced the matters, and it's like it's draw. Yeah, it's just yeah. So, but here somehow, I don't know. I mean, like I felt that this is a possible way to handle it, but I wasn't sure about that. So I mean, like I felt it should be. Why shouldn't be worse? Yeah. So that was my feeling. So I just decided to force things. Yeah. So 96 here. I mean, instead of taking. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to squeeze some advantage out for black. I mean, what did you think, Abby?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it should be I was trying to make sure not to overpress here, because by this time I realized that okay, my advantage has evaporated.
Yeah.
And I felt like I should not be worse either. Like I felt like the game was a logical conclusion, and whatever happens, I should get some kind of drawn rook ending.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's where we were trying to find some advantage. But anyway,
96. If white is going same way, like rook e1.
Rook e1.
Rook e1, yeah. Then,
okay, like rook e8, but okay, it's very small. Like okay, rook d1, rook
d1, yeah.
Yeah, rook d1. Okay, that's
I just get rook to d7. It's
it should be okay. Yeah.
It's quite difficult to imagine. Like
okay, so the game concluded, because we haven't actually seen the conclusion.
Okay,
but yeah, just the entire board just got wiped off.
Well, I mean, there's a like kind of trap, yeah, that I shouldn't take on h6 instead of here.
Yeah. Yeah, because okay, rook g1.
No, it's kind of easy. Rook g1 as well, yeah. But
rook e3.
I meant rook e3, yeah, but rook g1 is there as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Rook g1 is just better. Yeah.
Nice. Well, nice for someone. Okay, so the game went
9g7, yeah, and just
okay. Now I just offered a draw. I didn't see anything like rook c3, rook e7, and more pieces, more pawns get off the board.
Yeah. Okay.
Either rook a7 or even like rook e6 check.
E6,
and king f7, rook c6.
Okay. Yeah, and you called it a day. Well, that was a very entertaining game, I have to say. It's good to plunge in the water, and you both had to work quite hard for that. So yeah. Nikita, are you happy with the result?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, like I knew before the game it wouldn't be easier. So, no, I mean, of course, I was. I can say that I was in trouble in the opening, and well, yeah.
Yeah. You both played in the World Cup. How was your experiences there, Nikita? First of all.
Yeah, it was my 10th World Cup. Yeah, so it didn't last long.
Yeah.
So I mean, it happens. Yeah. So yeah, I can't say that I've enjoyed it. I mean, I wasn't up to the level. Yeah. So I can't say that I was playing decent chess there.
Okay, Abhimanyu, for you.
Yeah, I also didn't have like a great World Cup. This was my second one, and like what happened was round one I got on a draw with black, and like round two game two I decided to like try to do. I was playing Salim. I tried to do something. I played the same-ish, like the different same-ish. It's like d4, knight f6, c4, g6, f3, and.
Okay, I'm trying to recall the game actually.
Yeah, and we got some kind of a very sharp battle, and somewhere there was a position where the position was equal, and there were two moves. Like one move is like leading towards equality, and the other one is I thought looked tempting because if it's quite risky, but if things work, you could get an advantage, and that horribly backfired.
Okay.
And unfortunately, that's where my World Cup ended. But overall, it was like.
Do you know what? I wouldn't have asked you if I'd recalled that it ended so quickly. I apologise. Anyway, but you've had a very busy time. I mean, you were playing in Samarkand as well. You played very well in Samarkand.
Thank you.
I do remember that. So yeah, I mean, feels like you're living out of a suitcase at the moment. I mean, how is the life of a professional chess player?
I mean, as of now, this is like the last tournament for a while, so it's
okay.
It's I want to have like a nice tournament here. Like after SummerCon, I've played 2 events and both of them haven't went too well. So
Yeah.
I hope to bounce back hard, and we'll see how it goes.
How about you, Nikita? Are you feeling a bit tired after playing a lot?
Definitely no. I'm just I feel tired of chess and like in general because I mean I dropped quite a lot of rating recently. So I mean well deserved. I mean I wasn't playing well, so it's like always, yes, your rating reflects your chess, yeah. So it's fair. Yeah, actually, yes, I played in Samarkand as well. I played in Batumi for English team. Well, it's just the life of a chess professional. Yeah? So it's just how it goes. Yeah, it's.
You have to accept the ups and the downs, basically.
No. What I mean actually, it's sometimes you have many tournaments in a short period of time, and say I don't have a single event the first half of the next year. So it's just this how our calendar works. Yeah. So we have quite a busy time in the in autumn and winter, and then the first half is kind of empty. So I'm trying to sort of enjoy while I can. Yeah. I mean, like playing chess is.
Yeah, that's your profession. So yeah, you enjoy it. Good. Listen, both. Thank you very much indeed. I mean, it's a really interesting game, and I hope you find as much energy for the rest of your games anyway. So I think we're going to take a short break there, and we'll be back to look at the rest of the games in the round. See you soon.
Hey, welcome back. We've got another game finished. Very lucky to be joined by Pavel and Nicholas. Their game has just ended in a draw. Guys, we didn't actually cover a lot of this one, so I'm hoping you can help me by taking us through it. So Pavel, we'll start with you. So you've gone for E4 in this one.
Yeah, I decided to play this one first time in my life actually.
Okay.
And I decided. I mean, I was checking this not long ago, and I decided to give it a try in this particular game. I mean, it went okay in my opinion, because we can check the game later, because although here I was not really well prepared because I forgot the line after it takes d6. It's not the main line clearly, like maybe after, I mean, before d6 and after d6, black has much more popular options, like queen d6, for instance, yes. Also c4 in any moment, of course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just after simple exchange, I think it's considered to be somewhat better for white. But I didn't actually, I don't remember how to play, but I was really happy because here I thought I have some stable advantage because more or less all black pieces are misplaced in my opinion. Also c5's kind of weak, and yeah. So I don't know. I thought I have some stable advantage. Maybe I overestimated a little bit my chances, but yeah, not sure because during the game actually I didn't see much how I can improve here.
How are you feeling about it, Nicholas?
Yeah, so I think e takes d6 is extremely rare. I'm pretty sure I've played it online, but it was with the inclusion of knight f3, knight c6.
Okay.
So let's say instead of bishop c4 in the opening, yeah, what can also play knight f3 here? Let's say knight c6, bishop c4, knight b6, bishop b3, let's say d6, ed6, ed6, and we get the same position. So it's just trying to figure out if white can gain anything by, you know, the fact that the knight is still on g1, whether he can develop it to e2.
Okay.
But it looked, I don't know, it still looked fine for black. I mean, white's a bit better, of course. Queen takes d6 is supposed to be the main line, but yeah, the endgame was slightly unpleasant, but should be very close to equality, of course.
Okay. Yeah, we got to here and figured that you were probably going to be pretty satisfied with the result of the opening.
Yeah.
We didn't see anything else after this on the broadcast.
Yeah, I was pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
For instance, here maybe I could play bishop e3.
Okay.
I wasn't sure after bishop takes f3. But I am on time to defend also my weaknesses. He can play knight e5, king g2. And then here he has a lot of options.
Yeah.
So I see evaluation, probably I was right that it's nothing special.
Right.
But in the long run, yeah, it looks promising because of two bishops, but black has some activity.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, it was very concrete. I wasn't sure what exactly to play here, but obviously if white gets to solidify his position, it should be quite a bit better with a pair of bishops. But I think even knight d3 here should be fine, or even c4.
Yeah, something like that. It was my thoughts.
The eval bars supporting your judgment here, saying both are close to equality. So yeah.
So that's why.
So you went in for this knight g5.
Yeah, knight g5 looks a bit strange because a little bit underdeveloped, but black has some issues also. Again, still he was unable to activate normally his pieces. Although, yeah, seems like black well developed, but I don't see much prospects from point of view of some activity.
Yeah.
I think bishop c2 could be annoying in some cases.
Yes. So bishop c2, yeah, I wanted to play at some point also, but yeah, I was not sure where. Yeah.
We very quickly got to this position and were considering that move.
Yeah.
We spent very little time on it, but kind of it just felt a bit more comfortable for white to play just with the queenside structure as it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so knight g5, and then yeah, we've not seen this, so bishop f5.
Yeah, basically it's a critical position because also I can maybe play knight g3, but knight g3, bishop g6, I didn't see exactly why it is beneficial for me. That's why I decided. Yeah, I don't know. Eval bar show something. Bishop d3, of course, is a possibility also, but I didn't see also here. So I don't know. So I think it was your only chance here to play.
After bishop d3, I guess you can take on b6 and play bishop c4.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly. This is that's what I saw also at some point. It's at some point also. Yeah, also knight c4, knight b6, and maybe bishop d5 somewhere, but I was not sure. Yeah, here, although here I think black is very solid, but yeah, black has to be precise anyway. But I don't believe that big precision necessary here.
Okay.
Yeah, because what we got in the game is just a draw, I think.
Yeah, just a draw. I think I missed some small intermediate move. I don't remember. I think. I mean, in general, I can say that I was really believing. I'm believe in my position, but yeah, if he played just something bishop before, I think it's quite precise move. I was like. I was hoping that he will not play this because it's kind of simplification. Yeah, maybe I thought maybe he gonna play more ambitiously, but yeah, I think bishop before just a draw.
Okay.
I did get a bit ambitious after rook d2, but what you played is just very easy.
Yeah.
Because I think after c4, if white goes bishop d1, there's just f5 and it's quite bad.
5, of course, yeah.
And rook e6, king f7, the rook gets trapped.
It is, of course. I mean, f5, of course, it's quite dangerous all the time here.
Yeah.
White has to be careful, but black has to be careful as well, I guess. Yeah, I think it's a draw, yeah.
Okay. Just go through to the end here. So you're feeling quite ambitious. Did you miss something that Pavel had here, or?
Well, not really. I was just hoping that tactics would work out for me, like f5, and his pieces are a bit overloaded.
Yeah.
But there was nothing there.
Okay. Ends in this way. Nice. Well, nice to get off the scoreboard in the first round. Is it your first time in London?
Yeah, my first time in England in general.
Oh, cool, right, okay, yeah. And you've been at the World Cup recently as well. How was that experience?
It was my first World Cup. I was obviously expecting to do better, but I guess the fact that the person who knocked me out won the whole thing eventually doesn't make me feel, too bad about it.
Yeah.
So it's all right.
Yeah. And Pavel, have you played in this event before in London? Is it your first time? Or?
It's my second time. I played June this year, yeah. So World Rapid Blitz.
Oh, cool, right, okay.
And besides that, yeah, in London, I was like visiting, but never played any game before. Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, thanks so much for taking the time to run through it with us. Yeah, really appreciate it. So we'll be back in a few minutes with the remainder of the games.
So welcome back, and we've been joined by Sam Shankland and Alireza Firouzja. Thank you very much for joining us, who've finished a very, very tense game, actually, with some really critical moments at the end. I won't spoil it to let everyone know what the result is. Maybe we'll just kind of come through it. So, Sam, first of all, take us through, what was the first kind of critical moment for you in the game?
The first decision was when I played e5. I mean, sacrificing 2 pawns like this is always... I mean, black obviously always has compensation. This is a typical theme in the Grunfeld, but at some point 2 pawns is 2 pawns. So, like, I could have just played c takes d4, c d4, bishop b7, and I have a slightly improved version of a normal main line. I'll go rook c8, queen d7, and whatnot, and black's basically fine, but I always felt those positions are at least a little bit uncomfortable. Something like, yes.
So here.
Bishop b7, okay, queen d2, rook c8, some rook to c1, like... These positions, I'm sort of a tempo up here on what I should be, but I don't think a tempo matters a whole lot, and it's basically fine for black, but I just wasn't super feeling it, so I decided to mix things up a bit with e5, but I miscalculated something, which was kind of stupid.
So. Alireza, you were comfortable with this opening. Were you surprised by e5?
I don't. It's very normal in this type of positions. I don't know, after p6 I'm out of book, so just I don't know anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Out of book?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised. Okay.
So,
you weren't, Sam, were you?
No.
No.
But rook b1 is not critical. And so here I was certainly playing on my own. And then I was wondering if I could get away with taking a2 here. I wasn't totally sure. I was a bit worried about rook b5.
Okay, that's another story. We'll cut to this.
The question is here, like, can he do anything with these 2 pawns up? And I realized I went to the bathroom at some point after a4 and knight c4, and I realized that I had blundered, like, bishop c4. I thought I'm just playing queen c4. I just forgot rook b4 exists. So I thought I just had queen c4 when black's very comfortable, but then rook b4, and okay, I mean, it's a fairly similar position to what we got in the game.
Okay, so instead...
I took with the bishop, and so I have 2 pawns down, but very active, and it's not that easy for white to coordinate. So, yeah, around here I really disliked my position, and after bishop e6 I was very surprised by knight c1.
Alireza, you thought for some time in this position. I mean, apart from knight c1, I mean, what were your thoughts about the position?
Yeah, I should have just played h3, queen d3 stuff.
Just held the position for a moment.
I was actually more concerned about knight g3.
Instead of h3?
Yeah, this is the move that bothered me the most. I didn't really want to take c3 after take and rook c1. It feels very bad. Because as soon as one pair of rooks trade, I'm losing all of my counterplay, and I think white is close to winning. So after knight g3, I wanted to play bishop h6 instead. And then knight f1, and now I can take on c3.
Okay, so you're just controlling the knight, basically.
Well, no rook c1 as well.
And rook c1, yeah.
So take, and okay, white has a few things you can try. If you play knight e3, I can chop it, and you're going to have the bad pawn on e4. But if white just goes f3 or something here, and wants to play king f2 next, and then, like, okay, I mean, it's not like it's over, but it felt very bad for me. At least this is what I was most worried about. But knight c1 I was quite surprised by.
Yeah.
My feeling was then I should be basically okay, but I guess computer disagrees.
Alireza, when you played knight c1, had you basically calculated this long line that occurred in the game?
Yeah, I thought I get knight to b5. It's should be almost winning, but I just...
I don't know if white even needed to go for this. Like, I don't think there was anything wrong with f3 or knight g3 instead of rook c1, but...
Yeah. 3 f5. Huh?
Sure. But okay, knight g3 then, and I thought this was very unpleasant for black as well. I mean, maybe giving the pawn is interesting, but I didn't think there was a need.
I mean, it's certainly critical, just, taking this route to b5.
Yeah, and here, I mean, I thought if white consolidates this, I'm just going to lose, but the rooks are hard to coordinate. So yeah, I think this was all well played. Knight c7 was strong because there was a key point actually. If after knight c7, if he plays, there was some other idea here. Hang on. Yeah, no. Okay, rook c8 is good, or maybe it's a mistake. But I was for a moment worried about knight d5 here. But I believe there's a very important resource after knight d5, and bishop takes d1. Knight e7 check, king g7, let's say, knight takes c8, bishop e2, and if a6 I can take it and I have rook c4.
Aha.
Which
Tic-tacs.
Apparently white is good if he doesn't go for this, but I thought that I thought if I put the bishop on a6 I shouldn't be worse, but I guess I must have missed something.
I should have kept the rook on d5 now somehow. Rook d6 or something.
Yeah, there was another interesting line as well with rook d8 check actually here. After bishop c2, it's rook d8 check. Take rook a4. And I think this is holding by one tempo. Rook takes a4, bishop a4, knight c7. I wanted bishop d2.
Alireza, what did you think?
E4,
E4.
That might just be good, but no, guess not. Yeah, I wanted
someone
bishop
doesn't
d2.
like it.
I wanted bishop d2. And so there's a question here after a6. I can play bishop a5, and I was unsure if this opposite bishop ending is winning or not after knight e6. Let's say knight e6. I think bishop b4 saves the game immediately, which is what I was planning on.
Okay.
But because bishop b4, a7, bishop c6.
All right, you dive.
Yeah, this one I
spent some time looking at this.
I was not sure. Well, I didn't spend much time because I think bishop b4
is okay.
clean.
Yeah.
But this one I was very unsure if it will hold or not. I guess the computer claims it's an easy draw, but during the game I wasn't sure at all.
But
yeah, so here I should be okay then.
And bishop b4.
Yeah, bishop b4 I think equalizes directly. a7 and then bishop c6, and I'm ready to meet knight c7 with bishop a5. And now if anyone's better, it's black, but, well, yeah. So, but of course, like, white doesn't need to fall for this.
Okay, let's go back.
Yeah. Right, so bishop c2.
So we were, when we saw this and bishop d2, we were kind of amazed at these bishops.
No, he started with knight c7, yeah?
Excuse me, knight c7, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Knight c7, but we were kind of amazed that these bishops without support are somehow creating.
I have to go rook d6.
You think rook d6 instead?
And then if I play bishop f8? Okay, and rook a4 or something. I don't know. I mean, I guess I suffer a little bit, but it doesn't feel like I should lose.
Yeah, there is a strong move after bishop c2.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
okay.
Yeah, so rook c8 was inaccurate, I guess. Apparently,
it's rook f1.
Rook f1. Wow, it's tough.
I know.
It's a very tough move.
Exactly.
Because I was considering rook f8 after knight c7, but I couldn't bring myself to play it.
Did rook f1? I mean, listen. This is a computer move, of course.
a6 resigns. Yeah? Wow.
So, I mean, did this occur to you at all? Or
Yeah, it's very simple move.
Yeah, it's clever. Yeah, it's clever.
Yeah, but I mean, at first we couldn't believe that bishop d2 was kind of hanging together because these bishops are kind of floating without
White's
support.
rooks are also hanging and don't have
this is true.
squares.
Yeah.
I saw rook f1, rook c4. What's the after rook f1, rook c4? Knight d5 or what?
Yeah, looks pretty convincing.
King f8.
Even bishop e3 looks very scary for black then.
Okay, king f8.
So a6, let's say.
Bishop e4.
Bishop e3. Oh no, then bishop takes e3 is okay. Never mind.
Knight.
Yeah. No, there's still some work to be
Rook
done.
fd1 maybe. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
No.
Apparently not.
No, I mean, okay, like.
I don't know. I mean, this is still incredibly tricky.
It's always hard to play against these active bishops like
Yeah.
this. Like during the game, I was fairly optimistic that I would hold. Yeah, so rook e1, bishop d2. And yeah, this I think was well calculated on my part. And then at this point,
Rook c4. Why not rook c4 even?
here after rook a2.
Yeah,
Rook c4. Okay, but you can play a6, no?
I could. I'm not sure. Bishop d4.
Ah, this I missed. It's clever. Yeah, maybe rook c4 was good then. But rook c4, knight d5, and then...
Bishop a5.
Ah, clever, yeah.
Yeah, rook d4, rook d1 still.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, I mean, I just thought once I get my bishop to d4, I'm out of danger, so I just put the bishop on d4 without thinking much about it, but I guess maybe rook c4 was a cleaner hold.
Okay, so bishop d4 played.
Yeah, and at this point, I just think black is totally fine once my bishop is on, gets to d4. Like, it just, white can never play a6 comfortably, so... Like, yeah, we repeated moves here. Like, at the end, yeah, so rook c1, and then rook d2, rook d1, rook f4, and I was half considering continuing after rook d2. I don't think I'm better, but just, like, I had a time advantage, but we're close to time control, so... Like, I could have played h5 or whatever, and I don't think I'm worse, but...
Black can never win. No?
Yeah, so I made the adult decision, I guess.
Okay,
But, yeah.
very, very tricky. I mean, Alireza, did you feel like you were at the point of winning at some point? I mean, were you surprised that black had all these resources, or...?
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't play classical long time. I just don't see anything. So.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
when was your last classical game, actually?
It was in Uzbekistan, so Grand Swiss.
That's not that long ago.
Yeah, I just didn't look at chess.
Really?
Yeah.
What you been doing for the past few months?
Yes, it was...
I don't know. It's a reasonable question, I think.
You want to know the secret to a happy life? Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.
I don't know. I would like to know the answer. I'm curious.
Sure.
Not much preparation, or...
Yeah, I should go open laptop soon.
Yeah.
Okay, well, but maybe this is your first round, so
Yeah.
it'll get you back into the swing of things,
Yeah,
maybe.
sure.
Yeah. Sam, I mean, you've had an unbelievably busy autumn.
Yeah, I mean, I've had, I guess, St. Louis Rapid and Blitz, then Fujairah, then Grand Swiss, then U.S. Championship, all of which sucked, and then the World Cup, where I finally played pretty well, only to have a pretty heartbreaking exit. But
yeah, tough one.
Yeah, after this, I'm going to take a little break. I'm not playing World Rapid and Blitz. I just need some time at home.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, a very interesting game.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We'll let you go.
Sure.
See you at the Emirates tomorrow. Hello there, and we've been joined by Michael Adams and Luke McShane. Thank you very much, chaps. Yeah. Final game of first round is concluded. Well, Luke, let's start with you. How did you feel the game progressed?
The game was, I would say, a fairly typical, slightly cautious first round game on both sides, actually. I was reasonably content with the opening, not because it's anything very sort of special for White, but it's an opening which I'm very familiar with, and in fact we've played several games in the same opening in the past. So
I was going to say, you really like this structure with White, don't you?
Yes, I do. I find what I like about it is that you have this kind of long-lasting imbalance in the position. The pieces tend to stay on the board, so there's a lot of possibilities. The play can be on any part of the board, yes, the position kind of inevitably becomes very interesting at some point. Yes, that's.
So, which point was that interesting part?
Well, actually,
what did you feel?
Well, it's funny because actually, just you take that last move back.
I will do.
3 during the game. I was a bit worried about knight 3h4 here, just because I suddenly thought, well, when he went rook e1, I thought, okay, he's going to go d4, and then I suddenly thought, oh, he can go rook e3 g3, queen g4, bishop h6. It's a lot of pieces, and I actually got quite nervous about this possibility.
Okay, so
would have made for a more. Well, that was what I was thinking about. I'm not sure it's a good move.
Then,
rook
really?
e3 or even queen g4 also, because queen g4 immediately there's already some knight h6 possibility.
Okay.
And then if king h8, maybe then rook e3 or rook h3 even. Wow. So it's, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's probably not. Hopefully not totally deadly yet, as black is fairly solid, but it's a bit of a tricky. Because I mean, knight h4. I mean, we looked at it very briefly afterwards. I mean, and I was thinking about this during the game, like g6, queen g4, king f7, because this looks kind of direct just to get rid of it. Well, then like knight h6 check, and it gets quite awkward. If I go king g7, the other knight can come into f5 check. Yeah, and you can. It's so it could be a tricky. It's funny. It would have been a very different game if we went for something like this.
Did you consider knight h4 at all?
Strangely, I think I had a long think at that point before playing bishop e3, and knight h4 didn't even cross my mind. I wish that it had, because it does look quite promising.
Yeah.
The other idea which I was considering, I was looking at. Actually, I was looking at knight takes d6, which is very simple. I was expecting probably c takes d6, although I wasn't absolutely sure. And then I thought bishop e3, knight probably knight e6, although bishop g4 is an alternative, and then d4. And I thought maybe I had a very small advantage here, although I didn't think that much of it, to be honest.
Okay, well, listen, let's rattle through and see the game continuation. So bishop e3.
Bishop. Sorry, yes.
It's funny. We were looking at this position, and we rather like black's position, actually, just because we found it very hard to find a concrete plan for white, whereas it seemed to us that black's moves were just a lot easier. I mean, Luke, were you at all concerned?
No, not really. No.
There you go.
I mean, I don't particularly think that white is better. I think black is more comfortable. Like when we first reached the position in the game, I thought I would have maybe a slight advantage here. After a little bit more thought, I don't think I have any advantage, or possibly even I have to be a little bit careful here. But no.
The machine doesn't like h4.
Okay. I thought it was moderately dangerous idea to kind of probe for some weaknesses on the king side. I thought it made sense.
I mean, how did you feel? Did you feel like you might be getting a little foothold, or?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually expecting e5, f5, knight g5. I thought was the idea for white there, and if bishop d5, then knight h3. I thought was quite interesting, and the knight gets to f4. Yeah, once I got sort of c5 and h6, then I thought black was comfortable. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's not a. But yeah, I had the feeling I should have been better here at some moment. I mean, probably b5. I think I should play now. That was the move I think I probably needed to play. But I was a bit worried about a3. That was the move that concerned me. Just because then if b4, my pawns get a bit. So, but okay, I have to play b5. I think if I want to play for the advantage.
Yeah.
Because the problem with the c4 is also that once I take on b3, then his rook on the a5 is quite useful. I can't really move my pawns, and sometimes, like if queen h5, for instance, there might be a rook a5 somewhere at some moment, and yeah, once the pawn got to h5, it's
okay. Then we had lots of exchanges, and
yeah, I mean, I can also be worse. Both sides can be worse. I think actually it's just one of those positions that you need to make sensible moves or you run into trouble.
Yeah,
I think bishop d4 was a good decision, which was not necessarily that obvious here, because if I mean this kind of traditionally when you have the two bishops, you don't particularly want to trade off the bishops like this, but I think in this situation it's quite important that black gets some counterplay with the rook on d4 puts a bit of pressure on the e4 pawn, and there's rook d2 as a possibility, and if you just play sort of rook d7, then I can go knight f5, and I'm starting to get some threats. I thought I could.
I can't take on e3. That was the only thing I wasn't sure about. Just to take, and maybe just to play c5 and double some rooks on the d file. I wasn't sure, because this pawn on h5 can be a bit loose, and e5 I always play f5. It's not so obvious what white does. Not so obvious what black does either. That was but maybe that was the other option if you want to be a bit more ambitious, I guess.
Be quite nice to put the bishop on c6.
Well, I don't know, and there's queen f5 check then.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I think I just need to sort of sit and hope that white's kind of just tied to this pawn on h5 and somehow try and move forward on the queen side.
Yeah. Okay, but instead bishop d4, and then, okay, everything got hoovered off basically. Well, most things. Yeah. Okay, so a fairly gentle start. It smouldered without quite catching fire. Is that a fair summary?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Well, anyway, I mean, you've been playing a lot of chess. You've just come from the World Cup. How are you? Do you have energy? Are you feeling it for the tournament?
We'll see. You never
we'll see.
You never quite know.
Yeah, Luke, what have you been playing recently?
The last tournament I played was the European Team Championship, where we were playing together, and that was in Batumi, and that went quite well. But one of the things I played a little bit slowly in the first round of that tournament, so that my main goal for today was to play a little bit faster, and I think I more or less succeeded at that.
Good. Okay. Well, I think we'll leave it there, and we're switching to the Emirates Stadium tomorrow, the home of Arsenal Football Club, and well, you were playing there last year. Luke, Were you playing last year? I can't remember actually. Terrible.
No, I didn't play. I didn't play last year.
So anyway, we'll let you be, and yeah, thanks very much for joining us here anyway. And I think we'll probably close the coverage now. We've had draws in all the games, however, some very, very interesting encounters. So we will see you all tomorrow for round 2. There we can see confirmation of the results there. So thanks very much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.